All right, we are live. We are live right now. What's up, everybody? What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Kava podcast. My name is Will. You guys already know who I am. I'm the host of this show. I'm super excited today. I am super excited today. I'm super excited today. I have a very special guest, one of our Polynesian sisters, all the way from New Zealand. She's the reigning Miss Tongan International, and she got the moves, y'all. She's a hip hop dancer, y'all. She might make some moves today, but I don't know. But we'll let her. We'll see. We'll see on this show. But I'm very excited today to have this opportunity. First and foremost, I just want to say directly to her, thank you for the opportunity. I'm very grateful for her to join me today and share her life story for all you guys listening. So very grateful, very appreciative of you. Thank you so much. For everybody that's watching this for the very first time, thank you so much for tuning in. Please show some love and support. Please like and subscribe to my channel. Show some love and support. And everybody that's been watching me, following all my videos, thank you so much for all the love, support, all the positive feedback. That definitely inspires me and just keeps the passion burning and continue this journey with you guys. So thank you so much, man. Respect to everybody, malo apito. But let's get back to this podcast, y'all. I get the very special guest. Woo! I'm really excited today to have her join us today. So I'll let her introduce herself real quick. So go ahead, it's all you.
I'm so excited to be here. I've been watching everyone, and a massive shout out to our Polynesian giants out there making waves for all of us. It's so inspiring, and you too, Will. Like, I love your work. The first time I came across you was the Pass the Cup challenge last year in lockdown.
Oh yeah.
So me and the girls had did the Pass the Gear challenge, and when the boys came out, I was like, okay.
Yep.
So I really love your work, and I'm very honored to be here. Just for everyone tuning in for the first time, my name is Soana Aleva. Soana Aleva. Better put the namesake in there. I was born in Tonga in La Paha, and my dad's from Mava'u. I moved here to New Zealand when I was 1 year old. I am now 25. Oh my gosh, almost 30. And what I do right now, I'm a radio announcer on New FM, and also an assistant producer for Pacific Dance New Zealand. So we help nurture and grow Pacific dance and communities in New Zealand, and we help with education. We help advance and solve poverty by providing opportunities, and we just love being creative as well at Pacific Dance. And that's where I am in my season of life right now. And I also love being on social media. So I have a YouTube page called Sojo, hence the name, Sojo on Instagram, where me and Wills follow each other. And yeah, that's a bit about me.
All right, I'm fired up. I'm fired up right now. Thank you so much. I know a lot of people are gonna be excited to watch your podcast and of course for you to share your life story. So I guess let's get right into it. I guess the very first question I want to ask you is, how did you grow up?
Awesome, thank you. Well, like I said, I was born in Tonga and sadly only stayed there for like half a year, and then we moved here to New Zealand. So I grew up in like a modern society. I had my two grandmothers with me still. So I had my mom's mom and my mom's grandma, so my great grandmother, and they were so into gardening. Like, they would use the milk bottles, and like, I didn't know they did it in Tonga, but they would plant the milk bottles around our house, and always bring up the ngatu, paint the ngatu, force us to fold it. So as a kid, I grew up still with traditional Tongan customs at home, but I was going to a school where there was mostly Kiwis, mostly Palangi people as well. So I grew up with two different worlds, and I quite enjoyed it because I like going to school, but I like coming home and then hearing my grandma talk, and she was a prayer warrior too. And so I feel like having my roots definitely made me confident as a kid. Because I would go to school and tell them stories about my grandma, and I'll be like, did you know in Tonga, the pigs run wild? The dogs walk around free. And then all these kids would look at me like, okay, you didn't ask. But yeah. So that's how I grew up. As a kid, I had my two grandmas. They were my pillars at home. And then I just had, the normal Western system that I grew up into.
Okay, all right, nice. So for me, I'm always interested because I always feel like that our childhood always has a big impact of who we become later in life. It's little seeds that we plant as a kid, that we bring into fruition as we grow up. So I guess what I want to ask you is, looking back in your childhood, do you have what are like certain experiences you want to share with everybody? special moments, special situations, whatever it is that you felt like had a very big difference or impact to who you are today and what you're doing today. Because you're doing a lot of great things, by the way. Shout out. Oh, 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 oh.
Oh, gee. Can we still continue or?
Yeah, we can continue. I can edit it. It's okay.
Okay, yeah, sorry, I really don't know what's going on. Like, it's never like this, like, actually.
No, it's good. That's good. We'll just we'll make it work. We'll make it work.
We'll get there. We'll get there.
Okay, so what was the last thing you heard me say?
You were gonna ask me
a question. I was gonna
ask a question, yeah.
Okay, got you. So I go, yeah, so for me, I'm very interested to hear because I always believe that for myself that our childhood has a big impact to who we become later on in life. So I'm really interested. If you wanted to share, as you look back in your life right now, the different experiences that you felt like had a big, as a child growing up, had a really big impact of developing of the type of person that you are today. And shout out to you, by the way. You do a lot of great things. You're on the radio. You're Miss Tongan National. You're a hip hop dancer. That's a lot. That's a lot. That's a lot of work. That's a lot of things that you accomplished. You're a busy Tongan girl. You're a very busy girl. So, which is kind of, I feel like, which is really cool, by the way, and really inspiring to a lot of girls that's watching this right now. That you can do anything, whatever you want to do in life, just do it. So, can you talk about the experiences that you felt like as a child that really had an impact, like to who you are today, the way you think, the way you see things, your perspective, your voice, your personality, the things you're interested in. So if you just want to share that real quick, because I'm interested to hear like what made you starting from a child.
Right. I love it. Thank you for asking. Well, like I said, I have my two grandmas as a pillar in my life, but I forgot to mention that I grew up in such a big family. My grandma had 10 children, and so in total today there's 60 of us grandchildren. But my family, they were really formal growing up. We come from a line of composers in Tonga. So my great grandpa's Vili Busiaki, and he was part of doing the whakawhasi for Queen Charlotte. My grandpa then, Tatuila, he created the Lomi Bell, and from there, my family always had this tradition of passing down Tongan faiva, and it was really heavy. It was really important for them to bring it to their children, to us, and to show us culture, tradition, and why it was important to pukepuke, the Tongan values. They taught us all the songs, all the moves, and I think that's a good thing now that I'm an adult. But as a kid, I thought it was so much. Like, I thought they were being too strict, they were being too formal. I felt reserved as a kid. When we had certain things in our family meetings, I'd be like, okay, I'm being taught as a kid to just stay quiet, like speak when I'm spoken to, kind of thing. And I honestly have so much respect for my family, because I love that they've kept that all these years and it's passed down to my generation. But I think for me, it made me want to challenge that. I didn't want to be held back. I had this mindset at a very young age that I was not going to be a girl that is held back by rules, because I grew up with so many. And they were good rules. But at the time, I took it as like, you're not going to tell me to shut up. Like, you're not going to tell me to just stay at home and sit and go to school and come back. So there was this like passion in me to go out and explore the world. there is that thing that a lot of our parents are strict, especially on the girls, right?
Mm-hmm.
And for me, I kind of challenged that. I was like, Mom, I'm going to dance practice. And I got lectures. Like, they were like, you're a Tongan girl. You have to stay at home. You only go to school and back. And I was like, but I want to learn skills. I want to learn talent. I want to travel the world. Why am I not allowed to do that? And I feel like that one part of my childhood that has made me who I am today, the fact that I felt restriction. I don't think they were really putting restriction on me purposely, but that's what I felt. And therefore it caused me to go out, cause havoc, and be the way I am today.
No,
which I'm not saying in a disrespectful way. I'm just saying that was my way of thinking back then.
No, that totally makes sense. Thank you for sharing that, by the way. It's always, for me, it's always interesting to learn reverse engineer somebody's childhood, and I can see why. I always see a pattern. Because I've been talking to a lot of people, I always see a pattern that usually the people that are very outgoing, expressive, growing up as a kid, they come from a very reserved household. So by nature, we are really we just have this natural curiosity. I want to, because we've been so reserved, that we want to go out there. So I could definitely, and then of course I grew up in the same way. I grew up in a traditional Tongan home, and it was very reserved. My grandma was very conservative, very strict. So, but I know for boys and girls it can be different. So, I guess I do want to I do want to talk about what you just mentioned, because I feel like that's a very ongoing topic, and very something that happens a lot in. And a lot of girls and men also, but but girls experience this a lot, is the I guess gender role, like you mentioned, the role that you have to play based on your family's culture, values, and what you're born into. Because I really feel like, just for me, my own journey in life and growth, I'm a big advocate for happiness. Fia, mali mali. I'm a big advocate for happiness, purpose, and reaching a full potential. That's something I really believe that, everybody, like God has a plan for everybody, and He has a purpose for everybody. And I feel like for me, just my own personal journey is it's really hard to fulfill your purpose in life if you're unhappy and you're restricted, if that makes sense. In order to fulfill your true potential, your desires, your purpose that do you want to achieve in this life, that you have to be happy. You have to be in a nice place where you're happy mentally, spiritually, physically, emotionally. And that's the only way. But I do understand that as Polynesians, as Tongans, or any culture, and especially if you come from a very traditional household, where there's a lot of rules and a lot of tradition, that can have an impact of holding yourself back as a person, of being yourself. All right. Because the one thing I love about you is you just being yourself. You're proud, as confident as a woman, and you're very proud of the things you do in life that you're doing today, and you're unapologetic about it. And that's one thing I loved about your social media. When I ran into your page, I saw your posts, you're just being yourself. You're just being yourself. You have your own videos, so that's one thing I love, and that's something I want to push more. I want to push that narrative more, I guess, in our Polynesian community, of allowing kids to be themselves, and allowing kids and not be restricted, especially Polynesian girls, right? So. I guess the next question I want to ask you is, because I feel like part of that process, especially for a lot of Tongan women, to be themselves, especially if they grow up in a very cultured or heavily traditional family that you grew up in, right? And if you're a Polynesian girl that watches this, you guys can all relate. But I do want to discuss this with you, because I really feel like that the way for you to be who you are today also had not only with your culture, tradition, but your relationship with your parents has a big role on that, right? Because if you grow up in a very traditional household, you have to be able to communicate to your parents to allow you to do certain things, or to even for you to go outside. So I feel like for you, I'm interested to hear about your story, your relationship with your parent, when you realize with yourself, you know what, I want to go outside. I want to learn. You said I want to learn skills, right? Yeah. I want to do what I want to do, and that always has to go. If you're talking, that has to go through your parents. You can't just go out there. That always has to go through your parents. I'm interested to hear how your parents, the relationship you had with your parents, and how those conversations went, and for you to be allowed to go outside to the norm or the tradition of the Tongan of what your family expected of you, so you can go out there and be yourself, acquire those skills, and do the things that you really wanted to do that kind of led to the development of the person you are today. So can you talk about that, your relationship with your parents? Were they really strict? How was it? How it was, and the ongoing process for you to I guess to communicate with them, like this is who I am. And I know, and also I just want to bring up something that you brought up, which is really important for everybody that's listening. Like you said, the way they raised you, it wasn't on purpose. It's just how they were raised. That's how they were raised, and then they're just doing the same thing, showing you. And a lot of times, I hear a lot of conversations with a lot of my friends. They're really, they have a lot of resentment, or they're upset with their parents because their parents don't understand them. They don't understand themselves and what they're going through. But I always remind them, like, they're not doing it intentionally. They're not trying to do it and make you feel bad or make you feel worse, or they don't care. It's just that's how they were raised. So they're conditioned that way. So it's really, really hard for somebody to break something that they've been break habits and break a mentality that they've known their whole life overnight. So that's why I believe communication is key. That's why communication is key. It's really important to communicate in a healthy way, by the way, not the tongue and right. But that's why communication is really, really key, that you have to communicate to these parents, and it's not always going to be easy. And that's why I'm very interested to hear your communication with your parents, because I do believe in healthy communication. And for all those kids out there that's struggling, all those girls out there that's going through what you went through, that feeling the same feelings that you felt like being restricted, that the only way you can able to do what you want to do and still be able to love your family at the same time is you have to communicate that. You have to communicate that. So can you talk about that? Your communication with your parents, expressing how you feel, who you want to be, and how those conversations went, and just for everybody that's listening.
Sure. Well, I guess for every Tongan girl, we would understand that our parents do everything out of love. When you're 14 and you're getting a lecture on the way to school, you won't feel that love. You'll be like, why are you killing my day, Dad? I actually have a very personal experience. I went to school crying one day because my dad I had a test that day, and I just, I was in good spirits, and my dad gave me that whole life lecture. I just told him one word. I was like, I have a test. And he's like, you know what? You cannot fail in life. We want your future, And I just went to school. I saw my best friend and I cried. And he was like, what's wrong? And I was like, my dad just gave me an earful and I really didn't need it. But now that I'm older, I see that my dad was genuinely worried for my future, and he was trying to motivate me. That was
just
motivation.
Just like any parent, right? Just like any parent would be.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I gotta give it up to our parents, because for some of them that bring us into the diaspora or to overseas, this is their first time raising us kids up without a manual. You're right, they were brought up a certain way, but that only worked in Tonga. But in New Zealand, and I feel like as a Tongan, that's why sometimes I struggled, because I compared myself to the Western, the people that grew up in the Western society, for let's say white people, right?
Yeah.
So the only reason why I said to my parents, let me go to these dance classes, let me go learn skills, is because the people in my classes were doing that. If I was in Tonga, I would have been like, let me just run with the pigs. I'll let you do whatever you say. I'll listen to you. But because I have an environment that is different, I'm comparing myself. I'm questioning my identity. I had an internal conflict of why am I not like that person? Why can't I go participate? Why do I have to stay like this just because I'm Tongan, right? So I don't fully blame the parents for that, because they were finding out how to live in this new place, as well as raising a new generation here. And like you said, it comes with communication. For me, being a 14-year-old wanting to go to dance classes, I was just like, Dad, there's this dancing at school, pick me up later. And he'd be like, why? No, you come straight home. And I know it's because of safety and stuff. But for him, he never communicated that that he didn't know what dance class was,
Yeah.
And for me, I was like, this is so normal. Everyone's doing it. And that was the gap. And for me, I received a lot of growlings, a lot of lectures, but I guess I was the type of girl to kind of rebel, so I kept going. And like every dance class, he'll be like, okay, but this is your last dance class. You better tell your teacher that you're not coming anymore. Otherwise, I'm going to walk in and tell her myself. And I'm like, okay, Dad. And like the next practice, I'll be like, Dad, can you take me to practice? And I don't know, I just kind of took it, And I think it got to the point where they started to trust me because they saw that nothing bad was happening. They saw the consistency. And I had a lot of performances where my parents didn't actually come and watch. But like I said, it's part of the whole, this is new territory for them. Yeah. And the best way that I got over it with them was I would just talk to them about it. I would say like, this is what I love to do. I get to meet new people. And it took them until I was 21, actually. I started at 14. They didn't really loosen up or trust me until I could drive. And then they're like, okay, fine, you're an adult, go do your own thing.
Yeah.
But I guess with some parents, communication works, like telling them, but also showing them your habits, speak to them louder. So the fact that I was showing them that I was serious about my practices, that's all I was going to. I made sure that I didn't like mess up my privileges. Then they knew like, okay, we can trust Soana. And like a few years later, my job now is in Pacific dance. I get paid for it. I got paid to teach dance at like this organization called Youth Town. And I feel like your parents don't see the fruit of it, but if you really just show it in your action, they'll respect it over time. Mine took like 10 years, but they'll eventually, if you're really serious about it, they'll respect it. But yes, yeah, I guess that communication, saying it openly, but just showing it by actions was what helped with me and my parents.
Yeah. Oh, damn. Thank you. 10 years, 10 years is a pretty short time. They're talking from parents.
Yeah. 10 years.
Wow. just a decade. Just a good decade. But
just a decade of crying in the car. Yeah. Honestly, and everyone in my crew, they would go there and all their parents would be there, like ready to show up with cupcakes and stuff. And I'd walk in by myself and I'd be like, it's just me, myself, and I, like, myself. Yeah.
You're ready to release that, release that on the dance floor. Release on the dance.
Yeah.
I do want to open this up for discussion because I feel like this is a very good topic, and you brought a lot of good points that I feel like I definitely want to bring up because I guess that's something that every Tongan, every Polynesian kid has been trying to figure out, like how are we able. And you said a lot of great points. And I just want to re-clarify that for everybody because I feel like we talked about healthy communication, right? And this is something I always tell people: healthy communication always starts with understanding the other person as well. As much as you want to be understood and heard, regardless of you disagree of the opinion of another person, you still have to be as understanding and try to understand where they're coming from as well. Because if there's no understanding, that's where it becomes toxic and becomes sometimes, violent, violent sometimes. So just want to put it out there. And you said it very best. Our parents, our parents, they're still trying to figure out things themselves, and this is a whole unknown territory for them. Not only to figure out how to start a family in a foreign country, especially if you live overseas. But you said it best. The way they grew up works in Tongan. Right, works in Tongan, but it may not. And I remember I had a conversation with somebody else on another podcast. They said the same thing. The island way and the island way of life and mentality, and the way we do things. It's suited for the island life in the islands, but it's not suited for Western society. All right, and so for all those kids out there that a little bit frustrated, and of course you can jump in anytime in this conversation. I want to open up, jump in anytime and just share your thoughts. But for every kid out there right now in Western society that you're struggling right now with your own identity, you have to understand that our parents come from a different time, and they don't know when you talk about the things you talk about in school, they literally have no idea what you're talking about. Yeah. And that's why that's why you said healthy communication, explaining things thoroughly to them. Paint a picture to them. so they can see, Polynesian people, we're visionaries, we're navigators, from history.
Yeah.
That's how we got to the islands, and we have to see things. All right, so our parents the same way. You can't just, you have to paint that picture for them to see that this is something that can add value to your growth, because like you said, our parents definitely want us have the best intentions for them. They want us to do well. They want us to exceed, especially parents that immigrate to a different country. Like they really want their kids to do really well, because they know the struggles of coming from the island. So that's why they have that extra lecture. That's why they have the little lectures with you. All right.
Exactly.
So go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. Jump in.
Yeah. And just like a bit of background, like say for example, my parents, my mom grew up in a really strict household. Like she had to come home at a certain time. If she was not home by 3 and she got home at 3:01, she'll get the hiding of her life. And I feel like that kind of background from my mom allowed her to realize, okay, I don't want my daughter to feel what I felt. And I feel like that's what allowed her to open up and listen to my communication. Because I will admit that not every parent listens to your communication. You could tell them something and they'll shut you down and tell you, no, that's not the way to go. And I feel for that too. And my dad, for example, he was giving me all the growlings, but he basically lived his life going around different islands, and the struggle he faced, not having a secure home and literally being a voyager all his life was what he feared and didn't want for us. So that's why he was so hard on us. So I totally love your point of like, our parents grew up and knew the struggle, and that's the reason why they don't want us to go through that struggle.
Yeah, so like they're loving us in their own way, right? So and just want to put it out there, but I love what you said, and so that's the hardest thing. So I guess number one, communication is key. Try to paint the picture for them. And I love what you said, and it's something I never heard before, and I definitely want to throw this to my audience, and so they can add value to them. That our parents, it's all about trust, right? Trust. So if you have a dream, if you have something you really want to do, you have to show commitment, show consistency, and through your work, and don't just complain, and don't just like handle, right?
Yeah.
But like if just show it through work, because that's what they know their whole life. Tongans, they know work, they know working with their hands, they know consistency, they know sacrifice. So those are things that you may have. Those are values that if they see you go use those same values into something, as much as they don't want to agree, but they're like, you know what? But at least she's doing something, at least she's working towards it. And then, like you said, have that trust. But if you try to, and I've done this, I should have done this, but if you start going behind their back and not communicating and doing things that you're not supposed to do, and of course, then when they find out, you lose their trust, and then you lose that trust. It's really, really hard to have an open communication with your parents if they don't trust you, or you show them not to be somebody that they can trust, because now we broke that trust. Even when in their mind, when you go to your dance event or whatever, in their mind, like, oh, she's probably doing something else. And of course, for girls, you have to understand, for girls, it's a lot harder, because like for girls, they want to, like you said, like they really want to make sure you're protected and safe and nothing happens for you. For guys, I know they let us loose. They just let us loose. They don't really, they don't really care. But I know for girls specifically, there's a lot more pressure on you, and that's why they want you guys to stay home. It's just they just don't want anything to happen to you. And then that's why there's more. And so I love that you brought that up, that the trust factor. Just work, make a commitment to it, work hard, show it through your efforts, through your sacrifices, and let them see results. Let them see the results through the efforts you put in. But if you always just complain and handle all the time and do nothing, and do things behind the back, and then you wonder why they get mad, and of course you wonder why they're give the hiding of a lifetime when they do. When you do found out. Anything you want to add to that for you?
Wow, no, that's a lot to process. Just like yeah, like I love what you said about the fact that all they know is work ethic, even though we're in
Yeah,
different parts of the world and we have different types of work that we can do now. Like one of the challenges I met was like, why are you dancing? That doesn't give you a future. And then literally I'm walking in my future like with dancing right now. But like they didn't know that. But the fact that I just did the same thing as them and showed work ethic, we're now, me and my parents were at this place where we're like best friends. I can tell my mom anything. Like I can tell her everything and anything with no boundaries. And I really appreciate that. And it's shown me that at the end of the day, it's just love. They are speaking out of love. They might be hard on you, but if you gain that trust from them and they see that you really are working towards something that you are passionate about, they will come and support it once they know that they can trust, because they love you. They want the best for you. And yeah, I really appreciate that about my parents. Like, I just
yeah,
love my parents. I'm so grateful for everything, like even the growlings.
yeah. Do you see that? Not only for yourself, but do you see that with a lot of your friends too? Like, they're Polynesians, or they struggle with that, trying to express themselves and communicate that with their parents.
Yes.
Yeah,
There's been a lot of stories. I actually used to work for Tongan Youth Trust years ago, actually. And one of the things that challenged me to be more open with my mom was, we had the story of a young girl who took her life.
yeah,
Sorry to go there, but she was 11 years old. And we got the phone call, and the story was she was in a home where she couldn't open up to her family who were looking after her, and she felt so alone. She felt so emotionally abused, like she couldn't talk to anyone there, that she just took her life. And that like broke my heart. And I realized how real it is in some living rooms that some young people and kids can't open up to their parents. Like, that's what made me realize. And I was like, oh my gosh, no, I am on a mission now to show parents that kids want to say stuff, and to show kids that it's okay to speak up. And so my mom and I made this video about being a Tongan female a couple of years ago. And actually went viral. I don't know if you've seen it, but it's the Tongan dating one. It was on Facebook. It was like ages ago. Sorry.
yeah. I think I've seen that one.
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. I think I've seen that one. Where your mom talk about make sure you have options or something. Yeah, make sure you
have 10 boyfriends.
Yeah, 10 boyfriends. Yes, that's the one.
Yeah.
I remember that one.
Man, I mean, that was just like a random video we did at 1 a.m. And I tell you, the messages we got, like people were pouring into our DMs about how thankful they were because they couldn't have that conversation with their parents. So they were watching our video. And even some parents were telling us, like, thank you for showing that it's okay to bring those topics into the living room. And yeah, it just makes me sad because I wasn't fully aware that that's the reality for some people.
Yeah.
I kind of lost my train of thought.
No, it's all good. No, and that's something I'm really, really pushing for myself. That one of the things I'm trying to push within our community, and I feel like that's one of the changes that I feel like we need as a culture. Is open communication and allowing kids, because I feel like a lot of the things that kids suffer with always I believe, and comes down on a root level. It always comes down to the communication and the relationship with the parent. Because all the things that we struggle with, mental health, lack of confidence, lack of self-esteem, lack of all the things that we suffer mentally, emotionally, I feel like can be fixed with unconditional love and just making the kid understand that they're heard, and they're valued, and that their voice is significant, is important to the parent. Because you said it best, that girl that committed suicide, unfortunately, she didn't feel heard, and she felt all alone. And based on my conversation with people that almost got to that point, when almost got to the point when they wanted to commit suicide, that's always like being the common denominator of what they say to me. That's always, I just didn't feel heard. I didn't feel like nobody cared. especially coming from your own family, right? Though that's supposed to be your support system. That's supposed to be your, the people, your ride or die people, the very people that you grew up in the house, to, just to see that the very people that you love and care about as deeply as they love you, and still feel like they don't care. That can definitely push a lot of people. So, and of course, that comes from a lot of emotions being bottled up, and that's why I feel like we have to change this narrative in our culture that it's okay to allow kids number to speak up. And also, I also understand the dynamic of why parents don't like when kids speak up, because I know. I understand, number one, the culture, and we can jump in it whenever you want to jump in. I understand in our culture that the way we respect is very one of our foundation core values and principles in our culture is respect. And the way we respect our parents and our elders is how that's been taught to me, is that we are not allowed to speak to them. By talking back is considered talahui. You talahui to your elder. But I feel like that's only one aspect of it. You have to continue to go deeper. There is such a thing as healthy conversation and healthy respect, right?
Yes.
And this is something, and this is what I believe that the problem, what I see with the way they teach us of like, okay, if I'm your elder, I'm your parent, I'm always right. The problem I have with that is you're teaching kids that respect can that we have to give our respect no matter what to anybody. And
that's
me personally, that for me, that is very dangerous. That's very unhealthy. You're teaching kids, because this is what I believe. No matter who you are in life, whether it was my parent, my dad, my friend, the president, if you want my respect, you have to earn it.
Yeah.
Right. Like you have to earn that from me if you want my respect. Right. And then we have to allow kids to express themselves. So that way we're teaching kids, hey, I want you to speak because I do care. Right. I do care about your voice. I do care what you say. So that way they know, as a parent, you're teaching them that I want to earn my kids' respect the same way they should earn mine. Right. And I know our parents, they come from a household that upbringing where their parents rule with fear. And I feel like that the way they teach respect is through fear. I feel like respect can be taught with love and understanding. That you can still teach respect, the value of respect to somebody with love and understanding, not necessarily with fear, because I feel like fear is not sustainable. It does take a toll on somebody, and then people break down from fear. That's why long-term wise, love and understanding, teaching kids respect with love and understanding. Hey, I'm your parent. I love you. All right. I know you have to listen to me because I'm your parent. I want you to be happy. But let's if you have a problem, you have a situation, let me know. Let's talk about these certain things. And then I'll hear you out. If it makes sense, we'll figure it out. If not, then I'll tell you what I believe we should be doing. And if you open that, and the kid that lets them know, you know what, cool. I respect. That lets kids know, oh, I respect my parent. He always, they value my opinion and how I feel. But at the same time, it also shows that the parent can also make sure, hey, you know what, this is how this is supposed to be done. But I want to ask you, like, any thoughts about that? Because I feel like of what it does to kids when we just teach them, hey, whenever I say you must do it, I'm always right. And based on your own experiences, what you see from the kids I used to work with, like can you talk about like your thoughts on like the tradition of like we're not allowed to speak because it's disrespectful to Talahui? But that's why I feel like our parents were never taught healthy communication in a healthy manner. So this is something that this is new to them. They don't know, and it's not really their fault. Like I don't blame them for not knowing because their parents didn't teach them that. But that's something that we have to change. And by having healthy communication, we're not disrespecting the culture. We're not disrespecting our parents by speaking up. Of course, if you are speaking up, I feel like it's not what you say, it's how you say it. So if you say it in a very tone, mannerisms, behavior, of course, the way you express it can come out disrespectful. But there is a way, hey, to go to your parents, can I say something to you? I love you guys. I just have something in my heart I definitely want to share. If you don't mind, can you allow me to speak freely? You know, that if you say that to your parent, that can create a different conversation than just complaining and, you know, and go about it the way we usually tend to. So anyone jump in and talk about that?
Yeah. I totally agree with what you said about our parents growing up in fear, and that's all they know how to teach us. There are some pros. Yeah. Like, I don't expect anything else because my grandpa was like that to my mom. So I guess with the work I did at Tongan Youth Trust, I saw some pros and cons because I saw the same parents, right? I'll teach classes and the kids were like participating. But if a parent came and tafului the kids, then they'll just be so like, they'll be crying half the class. And I'll be like, parents, can you leave your kids alone? Because they were smiling when they walked in, you know? And the pros I see with that kind of upbringing or like, you know, technique, whatever our parents did, is that it actually does keep us in line. Like they do raise respectful children. Like I would never step out of line because I had the fear that my mom would kick me out of the house kind of thing. So I was always that person that was like, I'll go explore and try new things, but I won't cause trouble. So I feel like that's a good thing about our parents instilling fear of us into us, is that we will have this fear of not wanting to be like menaces in society. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Some of the cons is that the way they treat us or teach us to act just at home, we take it out into the bigger community. So if someone, a peer, speaks to us disrespectfully, if we're taught to not speak back, we will not speak back to a friend. So therefore, people will continue to disrespect us. And it's so hard for us to talk back because we've grown up so angalele.
Yeah.
It's not a good thing because that's you letting people take advantage of you. That's you becoming a people pleaser because in your home, you've learned to keep your mouth shut. You've learned to just respect everything that everyone says, any authority figure as well, outside in the wider community.
Like I mentioned, like we're taught to just give our respect without earning for somebody to earn it.
Exactly. Right? What you were saying. Yeah,
just give it. Don't earn. You don't have to earn no respect from me. I'm just going to give it to you unconditionally. That's Go ahead. I'm
humble. I came from a humble household, so I won't say anything. But I just learned recently that heavily impacts your mental health, because you then always go away thinking like, what's wrong with me? Why are people always why do I always have to take it, you know? And it'll go to two different things. You'll either explode and have a fight, or you know, or you'll just continue to bottle it up and it'll eat away inside you. Like, and I don't think that's healthy for our young people, for our Tongans, for our PIs. So I think that's the downside of parents teaching us to keep it in at home. And yes, sorry, what was your? Yeah, that was actually basically my only add on.
No, thank you. No, thank you. I just wanted you to back me up.
Bobo.
Bobo Mike. Malo. No. And so I want to ask you, because obviously since we're talking about culture, all right.
Yeah.
And like you know, this is our point of views, our perspectives, what we believe in, and especially from our personal experience, right? What we believe that things that necessary positive changes that we can do to definitely help out our Polynesian brothers and sisters. So I know there's gonna be a lot of people watching this, and then they're gonna elder generation, elder people watching this, and they're gonna be mad that because they believe that our culture is perfect, that they believe that there's nothing wrong with our culture. And that we're just being spoiled little brats right now, talking about talking about this subject. And this is something I always often get a lot of people, because you already know. I know you follow me on social media, on my podcast, and I get a lot of feedback all the time from people about the certain topics I talk about, my certain perspective towards things. And a lot of people, there's a lot of people think I hate the culture. How can you grow up in Tongan and you talk about our culture and you like I'm anti-Tongan culture person, and I always laugh. I was like, never. If you ever listen to anything I say, I never say that I am not. You will never hear it come out my mouth. I'm not proud to be Tongan, or I hate my culture. I have never said that. I've always loved my culture. I'll always be Tongan. Always. I love Tongan, baby, the for life. But I do understand that they're meant, they don't see. This is one thing I tell them, look, I love my culture. I'm proud of my culture. But I also am self-aware to understand that our culture is not perfect. All right. And just like anything, just like anything, nothing in this world is perfect. Nothing. I am not perfect. Our parents are not perfect. The society, the government, politicians, nothing, systems, like school systems, like nothing in this world. There's always something in it. There's always an area we can improve in life. There is not, right? The only thing that's perfect is Jesus Christ. Just want to put it out there. Jesus Christ. Amen. All right. And if you have a problem with me, go see him. Go to Jesus. I'll come and see you soon.
Take it to the Lord.
Yes, take it to the Lord. If you have a lot of hate towards me and a lot of ill feelings, that's what I love. Straight up, I love you, but I really believe that I can't. You need to go see Jesus. See you soon.
Yes.
But that's something I say is, so I always tell people, look, I want to, because of my experiences, which are real, by the way, and also, when kids give out these experiences, a lot of people want to invalidate it because, oh, that's just her opinion, and that's something I always hear a lot of people, like, your opinion doesn't make sense, it's not facts. I'm like, no, a person's experienced something that happened to me in real life. That's their opinion. That is all. I don't need for them to prove what they went through is real. No, if somebody says something that they went through that was very traumatic, that regardless of how they say it or what they say, that's not invalidated of the things they went through and how they felt. And so it is all real. It is all real to me. And a lot of times our culture, our Polynesian community, want to downplay somebody's experience because it's not proven or it's not real based on the cultural values that we grew up in. So I want to ask you, one of you is, what are your thoughts to those people that say that there's nothing wrong with our culture, and that what you guys saying doesn't make sense, and I'm just interested to hear your thoughts on it, and because that was my opinion about it that I just share with you, with all those people that that think what I'm trying to do is disrespectful to the culture and changing. And also just put out there, if you do your research, everybody, if you do your research, you realize that culture is a man-made thing. I don't know if people realize this. Culture is a man-made thing, all right? Man-made it. Traditions, everything we follow, traditions, the way we dance, the way we eat, the way we do things. This is somebody in history, human, made this up and taught that to somebody, and that became the way we do things. So because it is man-made, that means culture, if you look in history, culture has always progressed and changed in life, depending on the generation and the time. And the reason why culture has always changed, because people have always changed and realized, okay, this generation, what worked before back then in that generation did not work, and they improved. Right. And I'll give you, and this is something I always, especially for the females, the old ladies that always hit me up and say, hey, so why did you hate your culture? Why are you trying to change the culture? I was like, you know what? If we kept the culture the way our ancestors did, all the ladies right now, like, you will still be at home right now and you won't work.
Exactly.
The reason why you have a job, the reason why you're able to go to college, the reason why you're able to do what you're doing now and go have a social life, right?
Exactly.
Is because our culture has changed. If we stuck to what our ancestors taught 50 years ago, 100 years ago, you will not even see a light of day.
You would be in I totally agree. But just quickly, can I pause and go get my phone charger because it's on 3%?
Oh, go ahead. It's all good.
I always forget to check the thing.
It is good.
But give me a moment.
Give me a moment. I'm just speaking to the audience. Give us a moment, y'all. Y'all gotta go get the charger. Kataki famole. Sorry about this little inconvenience. I highly suggest you just fast forward a couple seconds past this, and so that way the conversation keep continuing. But yeah, I don't really have a not really good as far as my editing skills, and hopefully I can work with somebody one day that can edit my videos. But that's why I just post these videos raw. And yeah, so everybody that's watching this, apologize. And we're just going right now to go grab your charger. And then so just fast forward, and then fast forward to the couple seconds, and you'll be able to hear the conversation continuing on.
Yes, I am back.
She is
I love
back.
that I kind of just threw you a challenge there. And sorry about that.
No, it's good. No, I was just having my one-on-one time with my audience, just talking with
Love
them real
it.
quick.
If any tech company out there wants to sponsor me with like those portable chargers.
Oh yes, yes. Anybody out
back.
there?
Okay.
All right, nice.
Thank you. Just be real. Just be real life out here.
Yeah, yep. So so just, I guess continuing on what we talked about culture, like I mentioned earlier, just to give us the points I was making. Like I said,
Cool.
as much as I love the culture, I do understand culture is everybody out there that think that that what we're doing is trying to change the culture or leave it behind. No, it's like I understand that culture is man-made. Culture has always changed as people has changed because time has changed, and we have to always accommodate ourselves based on the time so we can live and be happy. So I want to ask you your thoughts about all those people out there that especially the older generation, that thinking that our culture is perfect, we shouldn't change it, and it's kind of disrespectful for anybody, especially our generation, to try to change things.
Exactly. Well, it all comes down to mindset. Like you mentioned, the reason why we think the way we do is because we went through experiences that made us have questions. We are asking these questions about our culture because we grew up in two different societies, and we're like, why do we feel this way? Why are we going, like, why are things like that? Why is our culture like that? Why does it conflict with our reality right now? And I feel like with our older generation, it was kind of easier for them because they just, what they were told to do, they did, They grew up in a survival mentality, so things were set out for them. They just were like, okay, this is what I'm doing. I go to work every day. I provide for my family. I come home. Whereas for us, we can build and create our own realities, and there's no set pathways. Back then, our parents, they're like, lotu, bako, get a degree, ngawe, money, family.
Yeah.
Simple. Us, we don't have to get married till we're like 45. Like, we can have a whole career first. That can be our baby. And it's like, I feel like with some of the older generation, it's all perspective. They feel we're being disrespectful, but it's really us asking questions. And like you said, they're taking it in a disrespectful tone. And I guess I don't want to say this in a mean way, but I feel like some people really are just set in their ways. They're not open to seeing change because they're used to the way they've grown up.
Yeah,
and that's
fine.
Okay. I feel like us as a generation, we should learn to understand them and just understand that this is where they're coming from. Okay, you do you. I'm going to go live my life. Just kidding. I did get into it in a comment section, I won't lie, about a lady. You had the girl on your podcast the other day. It was about the rape culture, right?
Yeah.
I commented on her video, and I just want to give a shout out to her for being so strong and for sharing her story. And I went and watched her video, and then this lady commented and was like, oh, that's what you girls of this generation get for going out too much. If you just stayed at home.
So messed up.
Yeah. She was like, if you just stayed at home like my generation did, you wouldn't be in this situation. Yeah. And I just, I was like, okay, I understand where she's coming from. She's trying to say, if you kept your value, like your Tongan values, you wouldn't be in that position. But I was like, rape happens at home, sissy.
Yes.
Like,
yes.
I had to really think. And I said, in Tonga, you can't say that about the girls around the world, like the Tongan girls, because in Tonga, our ancestors ran around freely. Before Christianity came, we were a free country. We didn't even have clothes. Like, So you can't really speak on that. Like you said, culture and tradition was created at a certain point in time.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, I'm kind of like going off on a rant right now. But my point is, we all have different mindsets. And if you decide to stay in a certain way of thinking, then that's your choice. The best resolution is for everyone to find understanding within each other. And if they don't, then that's fine. You just stick to your life and do your best to like move on and exist in peace.
Malo bobo.
You're probably like, oh, her friend should have just died.
No, thank you. No, you said it like yeah, it's I feel like I said, that's one of the difficult things of what we go through. And you mentioned, the realities, right? The reality we see in the social world when we in school is different from the reality that they're teaching us. And and that's something that's one of the hardest things of being a next first generation Polynesian in the foreign country is that a lot of parents don't realize that who we becoming like are, like I think you mentioned it before early in the podcast about talking about self-identity. Our self-identity is always made up by the culture that we're and the society that we grew up in, right? So if you grew up in Tongan in a very traditional way, then you become a traditional person because that's the culture you grew up in, that's the belief system you were taught, and that makes up your natural personality. And you have to for all the generation out there, if you wonder why, oh my God, like why my kids are rebellious and being rebels and don't see eye to eye certain things of what I'm trying to tell them. No, you have to understand that they are growing up in a different culture. So the same way how your self-identity was formed back in the islands, their self-identity is becoming more open because that's the culture we grew up in. We're more open. There's different avenues. Like you said, there's only one way to succeed in foreign countries. There's different ways and different avenues to be successful. And it's not always the same narrow path. The same path that you grew up in. So I guess that's one of the things I just want to open up for everybody. And and of course, like I said, like both of us, we love our culture. We're proud Tongans. But like I said, at the end of the day, like we want to be able to improve the situation because, like I think you mentioned something. This is a real life experiences that we go through, right? So this is something I always tell a lot of people, especially for the older generation, is like you can't speak on something unless you went through it. It's easy to give your opinion. It's easy to criticize. It's easy just to say, what you want to say. But no, we've never, until you go through it, until you experience what we go through when it comes to mental health, when all these kids feel like they want to commit suicide, we talk about rape, kids getting raped not only outside of the home, but within the home. These are real life experiences. So, when it comes to somebody's experience, like you think this is one thing I always tell people. Do you think when a girl is you think when a girl is about to commit suicide or a girl that's about to experience sexual abuse, you think they care about culture at that point?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like you really think that she's sitting there at home, I should keep up my culture. Like you really think that's going in their mind?
No, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm just saying that to kind of understand everybody out there that's, like you said, limited mindset and don't want to don't care about what we say or experience it. I just want to put out there, like, until you've gone through it, until you experience it. And one of the saddest things I always see in our Polynesian community, especially the very traditional and limited mindset people, is that they're not willing to change until somebody dies. And that's just facts.
Exactly.
I know a lot of parents, a lot of people that I know personally within my friend circle, my family, that were very traditional, very closed-minded, limited in their way of thinking. They stuck to what, they never gave their kids any kind of awareness or even paid attention to them or listen to them. But it wasn't until one of their kids died. That's when they finally were like, oh my, they started crying, and they finally decided. That's when they finally changed and wanted to listen. And I always hear a lot of people then until a kid dies and everybody's running around, what happened? What happened? What happened? You know exactly what happened. She tried to tell you what happened. She tried to express to you what happened, but you didn't want to listen. So I don't want to, and for me, that's why I don't want to, for everybody that's listening, like, as much as we disagree and we can agree to disagree, but I just want to say, like, we shouldn't wait until somebody passes away or commits suicide or does something to hurt themselves and put themselves in the hospital for you to wake up and realize, oh my God, like her experience is, for you to pay attention and understand what they're going through. So I just want to put that out there for everybody that's listening.
It's a shame. It's a shame. Everyone thinks differently. For me, what makes me sad is when someone is closed-minded and they aren't open to knowing that people go through different experiences.
Yes.
And like just kind of going into a different but similar topic. Growing up in New Zealand, right? I wonder if it's like that for you in America. With the Tongan community, there's sometimes conflict with some Tongans saying, oh, you're not Tongan enough because you didn't grow up or experience, have the same experience as I did. And I've come across that. Some people have said to me, oh, Soana, like, how are you out there being so proud as a Tongan, but you don't even go to like church, like a Tongan church every Sunday. You don't have the traditional things that shape you as a Tongan girl. And I was like, does that really make me not Tongan enough? Like, and I had a conversation with Dr. Soane and she said, the moment you are born, the moment there is Tongan blood in you, that's you being Tongan enough, right? But I totally get it. It's because when you grow up with one mindset saying, I'm Tongan and these are the things in my life that make me Tongan, if I see anyone else that don't have it, they can't be Tongan. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, yeah, some people judge, some people aren't open to other people's experiences. Say, for example, if you're a Tongan and you want to move out of home at 18, that is so absurd in our culture. And people won't consider you being a respectful Tongan girl. And that's just like, I think that's an issue, a small issue in some of our communities is just the closed mindsets around different Tongans and the way they live their lives.
No, it's absolutely true. Like I hear that all the time. I have a lot of friends, I always find it funny, by the way, why, number one, if you, it's just our community is so judgmental. So critical.
Like, okay, so I don't go to a Tongan church, like, what about that makes me less Tongan? My parents speak Tongan at home, No,
I find it funny because this is what I'm sure you've seen this in New Zealand. So if you live your life a different way, opposite of the Tongan tradition, right? Then they call you Fiapalangi, or you're not Tongan enough, right?
Yeah.
But then if you are too Tongan and you live in a foreign country with too Tongan, they call you a fob and they'll still lalo to you.
Exactly.
Which is crazy. Okay, so the people that grow up and live a different way, okay, they're Fiapalangi, they're not Tongan enough. But then the Tongans that come from the islands, and this is the very same people that judge you for being Fiapalangi, they'll judge Tongans straight from Tonga that are pure Tongan and label them as fobs. Sio lalo, sio dayako, And I'm like, oh my God, like that for me. That's like, man, like you can never win. It's either their way or the highway. Like if you don't see eye to eye, then everything is wrong. So no, I do see that a lot of kids.
Yeah.
And I think your counselor, right? Your counselor told that about. The counselor said that it's about biology when you were born. Did you say counselor? Did you say counselor?
About what? Dr. Soane.
Oh, Dr. Soane. Oh, yeah.
Dr. Soane. Yeah, she's a researcher here in New Zealand. We had a conversation. Yeah.
Yeah.
She's real cool.
Yeah, she's right. She's absolutely right. Shout out to Dr. Soane. Shout out to you. No, she's absolutely right. Like, that's biology. Like, as soon as you're born Tongan, you're Tongan forever, right?
Exactly.
You're Tongan forever. So I feel like by creating the superficial qualities and values and to determine how a person, how if a person is true Tongan, that is always leading to open criticism. If we're always going to judge somebody based on how they act or what they do, all right, instead of just appreciating people on their own differences. One thing I always like to say is, look, I'm proud Tongan, like I'm a proud Tongan, but I'm also proud of what makes me different from other Tongans, if that makes sense. I'm proud being a unique Tongan.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. So you can quote me on that. That's my original quotes. Yeah. So like I'm proud of being a Tongan. I'm proud of being a Tongan, like, but also proud of being what makes me different from other Tongans. I like being unique in my own way, and that's something as a culture. I know a lot of times, and I understand it because of what the heavily culture values and the traditions we grew up in. They always try to fit everybody in one box. They always try to fit everybody in one box, and I feel like whenever we try to fit everybody in one box and we're trying to force people to be a certain way, that's why our community is so critical and so judgmental. Because we teach kids, hey, this is how you're supposed to be, and if you're not like this, something's wrong with you.
Exactly.
And then now that breeds that means you're teaching people to only see people in a certain way. That's not an understanding and very empathetic mindset. That's very judgmental mindset, because now kids growing up and become adults and see other Tongans that are not the way that your parent told you to be. And then and then that's why we always like to criticize and degrade people, which is sad, by the way, when I see that. We do it to our own people. We degrade each other.
Yeah, and like I think it's just a society thing as well, you know. It's a thing, part of the human experience. To like leave people out if they don't fit in. And I feel like that's why for me personally, it's very important for me to always make sure myself that I respond compassionately to people and that I understand. Because you might see someone, you know, like standing out, but you never know the reason behind. Like someone might not be coming to your church, maybe because there's stuff going on at home, like, or maybe because they've moved locations and there's no access around them, you know? So it's always like some people don't choose to be in those positions and they want to participate in the things that everyone have, but they can't. So understanding and compassion is such a big thing for me, because I know, like you said, we all grow up in a judgmental society and you never really know anyone's story or what they're really going through. So just like, don't keep it at surface level. If you're going to really dig in, then go and ask that person, like, hey, like, why is it like this? Respectfully, you know. But yeah, that's a really good point that you brought up.
Yeah, that's facts. Like, you know, you never know like somebody's story if you don't know the chapters of what they went through that led up to that story. So that's something I always see a lot of people do. And you said it best. Like, everybody's going through something, and you don't know. You know, you might see somebody's decisions because that's all we see on a surface level, but you don't know the reasons behind their decisions. You know, you don't know what they had to do in order for them to make the decision. And I wanted to encourage all my audience out there, like, you know, reach out. You know, ask. I've made it happen because I used to be that Tongan. I'm not a lie. I used to be that Tongan. Just, you know, Laui. Just Laui people. I used to be that. I'm not a lie. I used to be that way, to see somebody and just Lau. But it wasn't until I struggled and I started going through my own stuff and I realized that people were judging me and allowing me because you know, for the stuff I went through. That's when I really started developing empathy and a different perspective. And now, now for me, like, I always hold back. I'll make it an effort. I always hold back my opinion on anybody until I know them. So even if the people, even somebody is mean to me, even somebody disrespectful to me, even somebody saying bad things about me, I don't even have an opinion about it because I just don't know why they're acting that way. Maybe they're in a very abusive household and then they're just lashing out their feelings, and that just happened. They just happened to saw my video on their Facebook feed and they went and they use me as their way to let go of their emotions. So I just don't know. So when I meet people, I just hold back because I don't know what they're going through. And instead of, and especially instead of having an opinion, I just reach out, hey, everything okay? And then try to talk to them in a healthy manner. And it'll be funny. I've done that so many times in real life, and I just see people like just having, I felt a negative vibe and energy, and I just walk up to them, hey, how you doing? How's it, how's it? And they, they're so, they get weirded out because, oh, why is this person talking to me? Don't they know it's like, they didn't know that I don't like him or I said bad things about you? And I just talk to them, hey, is everything good? And then once I open that healthy communication with them, they finally like, and they understand who I am. They realize, and get to know me. They're like, oh, wow, I didn't know you. This is how, like, I didn't know that this is how the type of person you are. And then we have communication, and then I get to understand each other. And now those people, some of the closest people I have now, it's just because So I just want to throw it out there for everybody. Yeah, stop. The
gossip, guys. Nah. Yeah, that's so true.
I do want to ask you. I know you mentioned one specific thing that you disagreed. When it comes like not being allowed to go and move out the house. That's something that's looked down upon. So can we talk about that? So can you talk about things about our culture that you feel like that you don't agree on? That you feel like that holds us back? Because I know that's one of the main words you said, held back. And because I don't want to hold it, because that's something I really want to, like, I love our Tongan people. Man, I'm sure you've seen this in New Zealand, but oh my God, like every day I meet so many talented, smart, intellectual, gifted Polynesians, so much potential. God just blesses all of us with different unique gifts. And it's, for me, one of the saddest things I see is just seeing somebody that have so much potential or so much gift. They have a unique ability, but they never act upon it because they felt held back by the culture or the way or the traditions of our culture. And they never have the courage to like grow out of it and really pursue what they really want to pursue, what's in their heart, to achieve the things they really want to achieve. So I'm interested in your opinion. What are the things that you feel like, besides the moving out 18? Wait, do you still live at home?
I'm actually flatting at the moment. Yeah. So that's probably why. But it was a really tough conversation.
Yeah, but can you talk about can you talk about like all the things you see, not only your personal experience but the experience of other people as well, of the many things that you see within the culture that you feel like is holding us back. I'm just interested to hear your perspective on that.
Yeah. Well, one of the conversations I had with my mom a couple of years ago is why I asked her, and I can only speak on being a female. I was like, why are you guys just strict on us girls? Why do you let the boys run havoc, right? And she said it's part of our culture to value women, safeguard them, protect them. That's why we have the fahu system, to show how much we value the women in the family hierarchy, but also the males, even though they're not fahus and stuff, they get they're the heirs to the land naturally. So there is a balance. But for females, it is a thing in Tongan culture to protect, value, and uplift them, and I love that. But I feel like in like a country like New Zealand, it holds you back from kind of elevating yourself at the same level as other people here. So if your parents are strict on you and they're keeping you at home, how are you going to go into the workforce and compete at a level where people are allowed to go to workshops, people are allowed to go take internships? And that's some of the things I see. I see the most talented girls who can sing. Sorry, my sisters are in the background. I have 3 sisters, by the way. Crazy household. And I see girls who can sing and stuff, but because that talent isn't nurtured and grown, because their parents are like, no, just stay home, I feel like the talent dies. And so I think it's really important for our parents and for everyone to know that when you're in a different society, you have to move at that pace. We're in a different pace society, which means you have to be amongst the things that help you grow healthily. And that means they have to let you go out there and learn the hard way sometimes. Like, go face rejection, go join something, go go be amongst a big group and learn. Otherwise, if you're just going to be safeguarded way too much, you're going to stay at that level. You're not going to grow. And that's in the long run, that affects you negatively in this society, because if you're not learning skills, not learning how to make money, not developing your mindset, then you're just going to fall behind, and people aren't going to hire you, say for example. I'm going really specific, like just from some experiences I've seen, but I just from some like conversations I've had with some of my mates, because their parents haven't let them go out and try different things. They've only stayed in one career path, and they wish that they had gone out there and added more to their skill set. Yeah, I hope I'm making sense. I'm just kind of like, all these thoughts are circulating in my mind.
No, you're good. You're good. No, so for you, what do you think is out of? I mean, I know there's so many, and we can spend the whole day talk about it. But I guess for you, I'm gonna ask you, like, what do you feel like is the one out of everything is the one thing that you feel like holds the most women back, or in your opinion, like the biggest one out of all of them?
True. That's a good question. You mean just Tongan women?
Well, yeah. From your experience, and you growing up, what do you feel like is that the one thing that that we do as a culture, or expectation we give as a culture to women, but that's the one thing that holds, like the main one. That's the main one that holds a lot of them back out of all of them.
Right. I think it's just self-doubt, and it's instilled from like our culture restricting them to explore different talents, because they've set out just three main things for us. They've set out strong expectations on us girls, so anything else we're interested in, it's kind of like watered down. And then for girls who really have so much talent, they'll doubt themselves. They'll be like, but can I really kill it in that industry? Can I really put myself out there as a singer, as a entrepreneur? Can I really run a business? Because all I know is how to tafi dalato fale,
Yeah.
So I think self-doubt is a big thing, but it comes from the self-talk and the talk that goes into you at home and the restrictions around you. Because from what I've observed with other families, there are some parents out there, not PI and some PI, where their parents take them and drop them off to every rehearsal. Their parents are like, I want you to join this thing. Aunties are coming in and like, you'd be grateful for this competition. That talk doesn't really go on in some of our Tongan households. Just a reality. And I think that's what holds us back sometimes. It's just that doubt.
Yeah. No, I feel like the keeping kids in, or not allowing kids to especially girls, but guys, they let us loose, but not allowing them to experience things, that definitely prevents people from growing. Part of life, if you into yourself personal development, you understand that part of growth is going outside your comfort zone. And if you never experience things or challenge yourself to challenge what because that's the only way you get better. You have to challenge yourself. You have to go through the pains. You have to fail. That's the only way you can learn. That's the only way you can develop something to be a better version of yourself. Like, you have to go through these experiences. And because we shelter women a lot and punish kids a lot. And I know we're trying to protect them from the world, from all the horrible things that can happen to them if they do go outside.
Exactly.
But you're actually doing it. But you're actually doing them a disservice when it comes to growth, because I feel like we shouldn't shelter kids. We should prepare kids for life. Don't shelter them for life. Prepare them for life. Let them experience. Let them experience it. Teach them things. Encourage them. But what I've seen is you can protect them all you want, but the only way you can experience life is you have to go and see life.
Live it. Go do it. Yeah, I know. Well, I have a question. Like for you, right? Like the dreams that you were chasing. Like, even with us, there's no one that sits us down and say, hey, I believe in you, go do it. Like, it's just, did you just make this decision to do everything you're doing now, or did someone like...
So, you know, there's always I guess I'm saying, you know, there's a good way and there's a hard way, you know. So for me, you know, and that's, you know, for me, my dreams and goals are what I had. You know, I never had this discussion at home. These are things. My communication with my parents was like non-existent. And just looking back at my parents' life, you know, they work, came home, sleep. You know, the only time we talked was like when they need something from me, or the pu'i, or it's time to go to church. But just looking back at my life, we never had a conversation. And the only time we talked about dreams, like they told me they wanted me to be a doctor. That was the only. That was they wanted me to become a doctor. That was the only thing I heard of them about any kind of goal and dream. But for me, it was like, you know, I developed this own my passion. It's just life. You know, I experienced my own life struggles. I failed, made a lot of mistakes. Things did not work out for me, and that's why they always say, you know, experience is the best teacher. So I experienced I experienced the lowest moment of my life, and when I went through my lowest moment of my life, and when I hit rock bottom, you know, it enlightened me to realize, okay, I need to get myself out of it. And I realized, you know, how short life is, and how, you know, and how much time I wasted when I went through my lowest moment. It can change your perspective. If you know what I'm talking about, when you hit rock bottom, like you really start questioning everything about your life, every single decision, what you've done in your life when you hit rock bottom, and that's where my dreams was brought to fruition. Was I literally questioned everything I learned, mentally, emotionally, physically. I questioned my culture. I questioned what my parents taught me. I questioned the reasons behind it. Like, why did I make that decision? You know, I just questioned everything. And then I came to realize the things I needed to learn and grow within myself. But then also realize, okay, I don't ever want to hit rock bottom now. I don't want to live a purposeful life. And then I started asking myself what I really wanted to do for my life, what, you know, type of legacy I want to leave behind. And then that's how the dreams came about. So the thing is, for me, is like, that's the hard way, you know. When I have kids one day, I don't want them to go that route. I'd rather give them. I'd rather make it easier for them. And by easier, it's never going to be easy. Life is never easy, no matter how much I can do. But at least I can give them a different path where they don't have to hit rock bottom to realize what they really want to do. I want to create an environment and support system for me as a parent to encourage them. So, you know, they're still gonna fail, they're still gonna make mistakes, but they won't have to like really hit rock bottom to realize, what I want to do. I want to encourage them in early life, so they know what they want to do early, and they can act upon their desires and their passions at an earlier rate, and not wait till they grow older like me and everything fall apart. You know, to wake up, oh shoot. So and you brought that up. That's and I love what you said. Like we let kids experience life, and like you said, like we should, all those parents out there, you feeling like you shelter your daughters because, you know, we don't want anything to happen to them. Fun fact: I've seen girls sheltered, and things do happen to things do.
Exactly.
I've seen girls sheltered and still start families.
They're still doing the thing.
So sheltering is not working, guys. So I'm just saying, like, let them. And of course, if you had babies earlier, I'm not degrading. I'm just, you know, I'm not saying no, you know, I'm not saying that. I'm just I'm saying is it doesn't matter how much you protect somebody from life. Life will always work out on it. Life is life. So the best thing you do as a parent or as any person is to let them experiences. Of course, like I said, experiences, given direction. Because I feel like as kids, we need direction. We do need boundaries. We do need some level of foundation to build on. But let them experience it in the natural way of how life teaches us, and in that way, we can actually find a better and more easier path than going the path that I went through. In my life. And when I ask you, go ahead. You want to say something?
Oh no, I was just going to say there's this quote that says, "When parents play, children pay." So it's kind of convicted me to to work to leave a legacy too, because it's possible to set up a future or a good foundation for the generation coming after you. So yeah, just like that you put that up.
Yeah, just one thing I'll share before I ask you my next question. But I remember when I hit rock bottom in my life, I remember one of the things which was running through my mind. I asked myself, man, if I die today, and when I hit rock bottom, like, man, what kind of legacy I'm gonna leave behind? I was like, wow, like I think they're just gonna bury me and cry for one day, and then I'm gone forever.
Exactly.
All right, and I was like, wow, like, oh my god, and that's really a question. Like, wow, I really haven't done anything in my life right now to leave some kind of positive impact. I do want to leave something behind to make an impact. So, but I want to ask you. So, I know you're you're a radio. You work in a radio station right now. You have a the reigning Miss Tongan International. So you have a lot of accomplishments you've done. And shout out to you, by the way, for all the things you've done. I think you're a great example to everybody. For all those all those Polynesian women out there. And you talked about. Can you talk about your journey of figuring out your passion and your purpose in life, and figuring out your goals and what you really wanted to do for your life? And I know you talked about like you didn't have these discussions growing up as a kid, but can you talk about when you what point of time in your life did you figure out, okay, this is something I really want to do. That's when you figure out, okay, this is my future. You kind of saw a vision for yourself of what you really wanted to do. And then just your commitment to it, knowing full well that it's probably gonna cause a lot of lectures from your parents because of your choice, because of your choice in life. But you were like, you know what? I don't care no more. Like, I'm gonna do me. I'm gonna be myself. I'm going to do it. You don't care regardless of what your parents are going to say, even though you still discuss it with them, but you already made your mind. Like, no, I'm going to discuss it with them, but I'm going to do it regardless. So can you talk about that? Finding a purpose, committing to your goals and dreams, and being confident and going taking it and figure out who you are. Because I feel like a lot of girls and men definitely need to hear that part.
Yeah. I mean, it started in high school, really. Yeah. I think as kids though, sometimes. Yeah. Like, I look back to when I was 6 years old. I was in a classroom full of kids, and the teacher said, "Oh, what do you want to be when you grow up?" And I said, like, I want to be this whole personality. I want to perform. And then I got shut down like straight away. But I was like, humbled, nah. But then I just looked back and I'm like, oh my gosh, I said that at 6. Like, and I knew then. I feel like you're created for some things. But to give you a more simple answer, it starts off with just what you like. Like, in high school, I just liked dancing. And that's what I knew I was wanting to develop. I liked it. I enjoyed it. And I wanted to do more of it. So when I grew up and became more mature, I was like, how can I make this like a full-time thing? How can I get paid for this? And then another way I found out, and this is what made me serious about it, was when I worked a 9-to-5 job. Sorry, my mom's hyena laughing in the background. I worked a 9-to-5 job. Oh my gosh, can you hear my mom, by the way?
It's all good. It's all good. Oh, okay. No, I can't, but it's a little bit.
Oh wait, I'm just gonna tell her that I'm on.
The Polynesian house, y'all.
It'd be like that. So I worked a 9-to-5 job at this really like corporate place. I was getting good money, but I hated every day. Like, I did not like it there. And that's what made me realize, like, if I'm working this hard, getting all my days here, then I can do it I can make more waves in something I actually like. So yeah, that's pretty much my answer. It starts with what you like, and you can turn it into what you love if you train that skill and make yourself so good at it that people value your craft, value the quality that you bring to their need. Then they'll pay you for it, and they'll become your passion and like your full-time job, if that makes sense. So like right now, I love connecting with people, and now it's what I do on radio as well. But it's taken me years to like develop that skill,
Yeah. So when did you leave that 9-to-5 job and do what you do now? Like what age?
So I was 19 doing that 9-to-5 job. and I left it at the end of that year. So I went into radio at the end of 19, and my family's just having a big conversation right now. Sorry, guys.
It's all good.
Anyway,
It's all good.
Yeah, so I left the job at 19, and I just decided, for the rest of my life, even if I don't have a solid, secure job, I will work odd hours just to make sure. I would go to every workshop. I would volunteer and add that value to my skills, and then in turn be able to sell myself as a person of value with these skill sets, and chase my dreams that way. Yeah. So I was 19 when I left that job and got into radio at the end of 19.
When you left it, what did your parents say about it when you left it?
It was kind of awkward because I was leaving security. And at the same time, I think for me, it kind of worked out because I left to work at a Tongan radio station, and they liked that because they're like, oh, she can finally learn her language. So yeah, it was kind of like, oh, you're leaving more money, but you are going into the community. So it came back to me, like my dance classes again. I just had to prove myself through my work ethic and show them that they could trust me in making these big decisions. But for all the girls out there that are wanting to find their passion and purpose, honestly, it's within you. Like your strengths as a kid, your personality, you were created to be exactly like that. One of my biggest insecurities growing up was that I would be I'd fob out when I talk at school. And I was so goofy. I was such a goofball at school. And I thought people always thought I was a clown and never would take me seriously, right? But I was created that way by God so that I can be a personality, so that I can speak unapologetically. And so sometimes the things that people are looking for are right within themselves. They just got to take some time out to soul search, to ask God why they were created, and it'll all make sense. Like things will fall into place. Because many times we go seeking in other people, in relationships, in things of the world, but it's really within yourself.
All right, nice. All right, I'm taking the notes. Taking these notes.
Sorry, I feel like I'm just being a pastor right now.
Yeah, I got the follow. Have you got follow? No, I think the one thing I love what you said. You went out there and experienced certain things, and because that's the question I always hear from a lot of people. They always ask me, how do I figure out what do I want to do? I know sometimes in life, people are blessed with that at a very young age, and you figure it out early. So some people are like that. So, and if you're like that, that's cool. But I know sometimes we might have to learn how to figure that out later. Whenever somebody tells me hey, how do I figure out what I want to do? The best, I think what you said is try to do the things that you like and try it out. Try all of them.
Exactly.
That's the only way you can figure out what you really, really want to do and experience something that you really want to be passionate about. The only way you can figure that out is actually trying it. So if you have no idea what you want to do for your life, go get a pen, write down a list of all the things that you love and enjoy, that you enjoy doing, right? And then just go and try every single thing. And then the one thing I always tell people, when you I don't know, when you do something that you really enjoy and passionate about, once you go into it, then you just know one day, okay, this is it. This is what I really want to do. Yeah. Because you enjoy it so much and you put in a lot of work. And I love how you said, if you're putting that much effort into something in a 9-to-5 job, and of course I'm not, I just want to put out there, there's nothing wrong with 9-to-5 job. So I put out there. There's nothing wrong. I'm never going to knock anybody's hustle. So if 9-to-5 job makes you happy and taking care of your family and you're absolutely happy in life and you're living the life you always, a fulfilling life, then great, do it. But deep inside that you feel like that you're unfulfilled, you're unsatisfied, if you have this deep hole within yourself that you feel like you're not living a purposeful life, the life that you feel like you should be living, then and then don't be afraid to go try new things, and then just try everything that you like, and then once you find something you like, and then go into it. And I always tell people it's worth it. I know it can be very difficult because you're going into something that's unknown, especially when it comes to careers, because we have bills. You got to pay the bills. You got to pay the bills. So but like you said, but I always tell people it is worth it, because when you do something, when you work at it, when you do something that you're passionate about, like you don't even consider it work. You just do it because you love it, and if you can get paid for it, oof, that's a plus. If you get paid for something, because I remember when I used to work a 9-to-5 job, like I would just like look at the time, as soon as you sign in, as soon as you clock in, you're like, you already want to go home. And I feel like that working, I mean, this is my perspective on it. I feel like if you work at a place you don't generally don't enjoy, then it stops you from growth. Because because it has an impact on your mind. Now you're like, you go to work, you're all mad, you don't want to go to work no more, and you're just like, and using your time wisely, and then it just breeds a lot of negative emotions if you do something you're not enjoying doing. But when you do something you enjoy doing, you actually put in more work into it, you put effort into it, you grow as an individual. And then when you grow as an individual, that also translates in all areas of your life, when it comes to relationships, career, spiritually, mentally, everything. But if you're just stuck at somewhere you hate and you just do it, repeat the same thing over and over and over, then as I just see that as an individual, you don't grow. And then if you're not growing as a person, that also affects everything, all the other areas of your life. So I always tell people, like, I really advise them, do it the right way, figure out, have a plan. I guess that's my best advice. Have a plan. Don't just I quit, y'all.
Don't let time pass you by. I totally agree with you, because like with 9-to-5 jobs, if you feel like it's impacting your mental health, it's not worth it staying there. That's why I personally left. But I have so many friends that work 9-to-5s, and they use that to fund their creative projects. We live in that time. Like, that's good. Like, that's smart.
Planning. Like, do it the right. Do it. Have a plan. Don't just quit and have no way to pay your bills. Like, work on a side hustle.
Exactly. And one thing I think that a lot of young people have is the expectation that they have to have themselves sorted at like 22 or like 20. And that's why I panicked in my 9-to-5, because I was like, I'm here, but I don't think I should be here. I'm 25, and I'm still like, I feel like I'm still setting out my like life goals. There is no rush to arrive. I feel like as humans, we never arrive until we meet Jesus, So I just wanted to add that, is that there's some anxiety around getting your life together by 20, but like literally you don't have to. I've had moments like when I talk, I know it sounds like, it might sound like I didn't go through struggle, because I'm like, I just entered radio at 20, but I've had such like low moments where I've gone through depression and anxiety because I couldn't see my future, and I didn't know who I was, like why I was here. And it led me to a lot of like soul searching. It led me to God. And I said, God, why did you put me here? Like, am I here just to like fill up space? Like, and so you don't.
I know I think that's the toughest thing about growing in our generation. And of course, social media also has a big impact, because it distorts our perception of time, because we feel like we have to achieve all these things at a certain age, right? You gotta, graduate by 21, girls be married by 25, have a house by 30, and then so and I know, and I see this a lot. Everybody trying to rush things, everybody trying to do things, and then especially settling and doing things that they feel like they need to do so they can meet that requirement of that standard by this specific time. I know a lot of people, I know a lot of friends right now, they hate college. Like, they don't want to be in college, but they're going to college because that's the expectation of what everybody should be doing. And you should graduate by 21. And 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 I don't know if people know, but this is, I read this on statistic. Like I think in America, it's like a very high percentage, of like 80% of people that go to college end up in careers that has nothing to do with their degree.
Yeah.
So
Facts.
like that's 4 years. That's why I always tell people, like, that's years of your, like 4 years of a life you're investing into something that you're probably never going to use ever. So why not invest into something? Why not invest into something that you know for a fact? So invest into a skill, invest into a trade, invest into something you love to do, because you know you're going to use it down later on in life. So but don't fall to those expectations. Nobody has it. And I know in our generation, I see there's a lot of kids that are so impatient. I see, like you said, like 19. I have like all these younger cousins, like, oh my god, like they're worrying about their life at 19. Like, you're still a kid.
I was like, you have freedom. Like you can.
My god, like you're still a kid. Like I'm telling you, I tell people, like, no, you like, if you're listening to this and you're very like, if you're less than 30, you still have a lot of time. You have a lot of time. And I know a lot of people, when you get closer to 30, like you start cringing, and like we start getting tense. Oh my god, I'm hit 30 and I'm considered old. I'm a final tua now.
I should be married now. Yeah.
All right. So, and then we let these pressures make us feel like that we're not where we need to be, or we're wasting our life. Like I think my very quotes I would share to people is, you're never too ahead. You're never far behind. You're exactly where you need to be. So that's something I always tell people. You're exactly where you need to be in life right now.
I love it.
So, and I also tell people, sometimes in life things don't happen because it's just not the time, right? So if you're wondering why your career is not taking off, if you're wondering why you haven't found that relationship, I'm telling you, it's just things. I truly believe things happen exactly when it needs to happen. So if you didn't get married, didn't find that relationship at a young age, then I'm telling you, it wasn't supposed to happen. And this is something I learned myself. I don't know. I forgot who taught me this. Sometimes
your audio has cut off. Sorry.
Oh, can you listen? Hello?
Oh yeah, there. How did that
there?
Yeah.
I remember just something for everybody out there that's questioning, whether they're at right now in life is on track. I always tell people, sometimes in life, I forgot who told me this, but something I always think about every single time. Sometimes in life, God delays His blessings to you because you're not ready for it.
Oh my gosh, that one. It's like, okay, God, I know you're waiting on me. Get it together.
So sometimes, sometimes that we may want that. Sometimes we want that job or want that career, or we want that relationship, but God knows that you're not ready for it. And
that's so true.
There's a lot of growth that you need so you can be ready for that job. You can be ready for that relationship. And I remember at a very young age, I wanted this dream job. I wanted my dreams, but then I really look back at where I was at that point in my life.
At that time,
like I was like I didn't like, my skills in life was terrible. My work ethic was terrible. My discipline was terrible. My mindset was terrible. Even if I did get the opportunity for that dream job, I would have failed miserably because I wasn't ready. All right. So if you want,
like you said, like the reason why God doesn't want to give it to you prematurely is because it'll destroy you, or you'll destroy it. Like it's like a baby. If a baby is born prematurely, there's so many like health concerns, and I feel like God's the same.
Yeah, you gotta stay in the full 9 months.
9 months.
I know you want to come out, but you gotta stay. You gotta stay all the time.
You gotta wait.
You gotta wait 9 months. But that's what I'm saying. Is like, a lot of times we think that we're lacking, or we feel like we're not getting what we need. No, God exactly knows who we are in our heart, and He sometimes will delay it until you're ready, until you work on yourself, and then once He knows you're ready, the opportunity will always come. And that's why I always preach: just work on yourself, just work on yourself, just work on yourself, and then everything else will figure out on its own. All right,
that's what you're doing right now.
I want to. And since we talked about, you did bring it up, mental health, and I know your spiritual walk. So I kind of want to go into that topic. Can you talk about, because I feel like this is something that's really important for a lot of people watching this, because that life is not always going to work out, and life is not always perfect. As much as we want to make it perfect, especially if you're a Polynesian woman, you know how perfection is the standard.
Yeah.
But the reality is life doesn't work out. It's never perfect, and we're going to hit some bumps on the road. So can you talk about your path in life? And I know you mentioned your spiritual walk, and going through your own downs and depression. Can you talk about that? Those moments of your life and what you went through, and then also talk about how you were able to overcome it and get yourself back on track.
Yeah. Thank you. I feel like you said earlier, everything starts from when you're a kid. So if you feel the heart issues that we have now as adults come from needs that weren't fulfilled as a kid. So for example, if you didn't feel like you were affirmed as much as a kid, you will always seek validation, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And for me, I personally struggled with people pleasing and people bondage as an adult, because growing up, I felt like I always needed to please or be accepted by my family. And it's not their fault. I think just because there was such a high standard and such a formal way of doing things in my family, I always felt like the goofy kid. And so that was instilled to me. And going out as an adult, I felt like I always have to prove myself to people. I have to make them happy. And that's really, really toxic. And I think for me, I went into this period of depression because I just felt like very inadequate. And I think everyone struggles with that. We always struggle with not feeling worthy enough for something. And then, it's all deceit at the end of the day. It's like no one actually told me that I wasn't good enough. No one did. And I had a friend talk to me and she's like, who told you that? No one thinks of you like that. But for me, it was a narrative I had built up from a young age because there was something I needed, like a void that I needed to be filled. And so it was just going on in my own mind, and I was seeking it, elsewhere, if that makes sense. And so I went into this really deep stage of depression it was heavy for 6 months, and I wasn't listening to anyone. I was just in my room. People were trying to show love, and I couldn't see any of it. I just thought that's it for me. There's no worth in me. And then, what's it called? Oh, sorry. What was your second question?
Yeah, just how what were the steps what did you do to overcome it? How did you start your healing process and the growth process to get out of it, to grow out of it?
Oh, okay, cool. I guess the only thing I did was stay surrounded by community. It's so easy to isolate yourself when you're going through things, but that's when the thoughts become louder. That's when you just stay stuck. But when you bring it out into the open, you bring it out of the darkness, people can actually speak into your thoughts and say, no, that's wrong. Because a lot of times our thoughts just fly around in our head and we think that that's reality. And so at the time, my thoughts were so heavy. I think a thing that many people don't do growing up is train our mind. We just think that whatever thought or assumption we have, that's the reality, and let's stay with that. And it's very dangerous because some people grow up thinking the worst of themselves. Self-talk is so important. And that's what I believe led me to depression, is just that there was just so many lies in my head about myself, and I believed it. And I let that talk me down into that period. It wasn't until I had loving friends and family that would always come around. They'll just show up to my house and they'll affirm me. They'll be like, we love you. They'd speak positive affirmations over me. And over time, I grew to believe that. I started speaking it over myself. I started praying more, and then God will affirm me himself. And then words really are powerful. Once you learn to train your mind and renew your mind, I started to renew the way I saw myself. And I was like, you know what? There's so much potential in me, and I'm not just going to sit around, but it is a long process. It's actually a really long story. But the way I did get over it was just staying connected and not staying isolated and not being stuck in my own mind.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing it, by the way. I know it's one of your deep moments in life, but thank you for sharing that deep moment with everybody. Just big hug to you. Big hug. Let's give it a little big.
I'm okay, guys.
I want to give it a big hug right now. But
yeah.
But yeah. That's. I think just listening to everything you said and kind of like thinking about what a lot of Polynesians go through and people in general in life in general. I know specifically for Polynesians, like I don't know if you can answer this question. Like we are never taught how to deal with failure.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know.
No, I totally agree. I totally agree. I think that's why when it hits, it's so dramatic.
It's so intense. Yeah.
It's so intense. But like nowadays, there's some people around me, they lose, right? They lose in something and they're like, all right, it's fine, next competition. And I'm like, what? I'm gonna cry for 6 weeks. But I also feel like at the same time, a lot of kids aren't praised for when they put an effort, or there's no recognition shown to our poly kids when they are doing something right. Even honestly, nowadays, a kid going to school is a great achievement, making it on time to their class. But sorry, I digress. What was your question?
No.
We're not taught to deal with failure.
We don't. Yeah, I'm just thinking about it now because you were talking about what you said. I was like, I think one of the main issues we struggle with is because we're not taught how to deal with failure. The only thing we hear from our parents is praise when we're doing well, and if expectations to be perfect, to be like this, but we never. But when we do make mistakes and we do fail, oftentimes it's just a lecture or a discipline, but there's no healthy way to teach us that we can to deal with failure. So we just feel like that whenever we fail, it's just more of a punishment. Even though when you grow up in life, when I grew up, like I realized like I had to change my relationship with failure. That when I used to fail, as a kid, I used to get punished. So I developed a very toxic, unhealthy relationship with failure that I always saw it as something that always brings me down. Oh my God, I suck. I'm terrible.
Yeah.
But now I realize my own self-growth, my self-love journey, like failure is a beautiful thing. That's how we learn. That's how we grow. That's also a way God teaches us. So now when when I fail, I see it as a positive thing. I don't put myself down when I fail. I'm like excited. Oh wow, there's a lesson behind this. God is showing me a sign. There's something I need to do. I need to figure it out and move forward in my life. But I want to ask you, is that how you felt that way growing up? Like your relationship failure wasn't really that great, and then when you did fail and hit that point, it's like everything just falls apart because we don't know how to deal with it. Honestly, we're not taught how to deal with it. What do you think?
Yeah, that's such a good point. I feel like that's why I hit rock bottom during that stage, is because to me, failure was something that I viewed as final. Like once I failed and in anything in life,
it's over.
I felt like it was over. Like there was nothing else I could do. Like my life was over. And as much as I laugh about it now, that is the reality of a lot of kids. Like when we go back to talking about suicide, when something goes wrong, they think their life is over. They don't know that it's just a passing season or a passing moment.
Yeah.
And that's the dangerous thing about it, is that for me, failure felt like it was always final. And then like literally 3 weeks later, I'd be like, oh, I'm still here. Like, okay. So
life moves
must come up with another plan. Yeah. Like and you know what's dangerous about that? Like I said, 6 months of my life passed. And because I thought I thought my life was over, basically. But like you said, if you just like work on your relationship and your view on failure, you'll take it as something that you can move forward from quickly,
change that. The best way when somebody taught me was like change your definition of failure. Change the definition of it, so that way you see it. Failure does not mean stop. It means growth. It means learn.
Sure.
And then I don't know if you heard this quote. One of my favorite quotes is like, I don't win or lose. I win or I learn.
Oh, love that. And do you think that, like, I think it just comes back to, like, you know, the way we grew up, our parents instilling in us that there's limited options because they had limited options.
Yeah.
If you didn't succeed at school, then you're a failure and you're just like, you live your life. They say it, ta'eako, you know, how they say that. Whereas in our generation now, if you're ta'eako, you can go start a business and run online stuff and be successful. So I think it comes from that. Yeah,
I think because I feel like the way our parents teach us is like we have that scarcity mindset that, you know, there's limited, you know, and you know, there's not much to go around. So so scarce. So like if you have to do certain things perfectly because there's not a lot more chances if you mess up one time, which is absolutely false, by the way. You know, I love what you said. You know, failure. That's I think that I guess what we need to teach our kids is failure is not final. It's not over. It's part of life. It's, you know, failure is part of life and part of success. You know, they always say if you're not failing, you're not trying to be successful, because that's part of the process. So like when I fail now, like I'm excited, maybe too excited sometimes. People are like, why are you so happy that you just lost something? So
I think
like,
another thing. I think another thing, but I think it might affect girls a bit more. Actually, I'll be interested to hear your perspective, is that with failure comes like heavy emotions of like guilt and stuff. And I think for girls, it's harder for us to process. Like, I get what you mean, because like nowadays when I fail, I'm like excited to try a different option.
Yeah.
But I obviously react emotionally first and like go through the stages of like guilt, and I'm like, why did I do that? I'm such an egg. Like, you know, I could have done this. Why didn't I see that? And then after that, I'm like, okay, let me try again. You know. So what is it like for you though? Like, do you guys feel the emotions as heavy as us, or?
I used to. No. I used to. No, we all feel it. But I used to be that way where, as soon as, like I said, I was, as soon as I failed, and emotionally I would just be going to. I feel like feel depressed. You know, feel sad. You know, just oh my god, like didn't work out. And of course, I just get negative really fast.
Yeah.
And just focus on and just put myself down and just, you know, that negative self-talk. But it wasn't until I really, like I said, just number one, the experience of life, learning how many times I've failed in my life, but then I've always figured out a way to get out of it. You know, because I even think, you know, the fact that I'm still here today, that's why I'm very grateful for like God, like, because there are some decisions I made in my life that I could have turned my life to a whole different reality. My life would have turned out total worse way. You know, but for some reason, God, you know, things did work out, and I figured it out, and so I'm very grateful for that. And and also, just like I said, knowing that I'm never of the type of person I am today, I wouldn't be who I am today if I didn't fail and go through those struggles. If everything worked out perfectly, if everything worked out, if everything was given to me, you know, my parents just gave me everything, and that's why I always feel like that. You know, that's why I always say, like, you know, that's why rich kids struggle. Yeah, I have a lot. I know a lot of rich kids, but they're one of they have everything I wanted as a kid. They were given everything, but even rich kids, they still struggle. They still have a lack of self-esteem, lack of confidence. It's because, like you said, like the things that we want to, when things like work ethic, confidence, those are things you develop through life experiences. You know, you can't. You can't. There's certain characteristics. Like, I can't teach somebody work ethic. I can't teach you to be a hard worker. I can't teach you to have faith. I can't teach you to be persistent, to persevere. I can't teach you to be a good person, to be kind.
You learn through the hardships.
Exactly. It's those hardships. It's the experiences that we go through. That's what develops you into being that. So now I realize, like, now I have a positive relationship, I have a positive definition. And I know for a fact that I wouldn't be who I am today because of it. And because I have that maturity and understanding that sometimes we lack as a kid because we haven't lived life. We're too young. We're so naive. We haven't lived life long enough. But that's what I'm glad we're talking about it right now. So that way, for all those kids out there, understand that your struggle is part of your journey in life, and also part of the plan that God has for you. He's already that plan that He has also includes your accomplishments, but also includes your struggles. So this is all according to His plan. So sometimes we feel like that we let God down. Oh my God, I made a big mistake. I let God down. I'm totally off the track from the plan that God has for me. No. He knows you. He knows everything about you, and he already took it. He already took in consideration the bumps, the mistakes we're gonna make. That's already incorporated into his plan. All right.
Yeah.
But it's up to us. But it's up to us to learn from it. Is to make the right choices. Right? Is to be self-aware of that we made the bumps in the road and readjust and redirect ourselves back on the right track. So I'm glad that we talked about this. Anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, I just love that you said, how earlier we were talking, you're like, for your life purpose, have a plan. And I love that you brought in the fact that God has a plan for our life. And just like a father, I just want to say I'm so grateful for God, because when I was going through the lowest moments of my life, He would pick me up and tell me like He still has a plan for my life. He would love on me like a father. And the fact that when you look at an earthly father, he would not let his child run havoc. Discipline is part of love for him. And I guess that's what hardships are. I've gotten to a point in my life where I thank God for like all the trials, because I see what He wanted to grow out of me. And he's a God that doesn't want us to stay the same. And sometimes He has to get things out of us, like make things that were in us since we were kids die through hardship. And so I'm just very grateful that you brought up God. I feel like for anyone listening out there, He has your whole like life in consideration. He knows your thoughts, your mistakes, and He has good things in store for you, like a good father has as well. So I don't know where there was another thought I had, but I think I'll just leave it for another time. But yeah, I just agree with you.
Yeah, I don't know if you went through this phase, but this is a Polynesian thing I always see. So whenever you fail in life, whenever you make a mistake, our parents always say, it's because you're naked, you're not praying enough.
Oh my God.
Or you didn't go to church. And so I just laugh about that. So all the parents out there, when somebody's failing, it's not because they didn't go to church enough. It's not there is no correlation to our attendance at church to our mistakes that we make in life.
Fact.
I always heard that growing up. Whenever I mess up, see the reason why I'm messing up. You're not praying. You're not praying, or you're not reading the Bible, or you're not living a gospel life. Did you hear that from your own parents? Just bring up church every single time, like just justifying your failures because of you didn't go to church or you didn't praying or something.
Yeah, and they take it into like sickness as well. Like say I'll like sneeze, and then my mom see like, that's what you get for drinking cold water. Like that's what you get for not wearing your socks. And I'm like, no, it's just hot. Like that's why I sneeze. But yeah, I heard the church thing as well, and I was like, that guilt trip me. This is just part of life. Yeah, we hear it all the time. That's definitely a poly.
I know that's the old school. That's their solution for everything. Yeah, if you're sad, go to church. If you broke up a relationship, go to church.
Yes. Oh my God, they're like stay off people. That's why you should have gone to youth on Wednesday, and I'm like, the person broke up with me from youth. Not
So I know, that always cracks me up. But I do want to go into I know your experience being Miss Tongan International real quick. Just talk about like that experience, and I feel like that was probably like a big impact to your life, and you probably learned a lot of things doing it. So can you talk about that journey, that path when you're being Miss Tongan International, and how that what you learned from it from that experience?
Yeah. Before I go into it, is there any like specific that was quite a big campaign. Is there any specific like are there anything you're curious about that you really want to know about that? Or is it just my learning?
Well, I'm just like you can just talk about like what inspired you to do it.
Right.
To talk about your the process of how that went, and also just I guess give the audience a unique perspective of what you guys really go through. Because I know a lot of times that when people think about pageants, like they're just perfect. They don't go through anything. Or a lot of people might see you as a negative light, or beauty pageants. They're not like, you guys are not intellectual, or you guys don't have nothing up here because you're just a beauty face.
I'm glad you said that. Because there's so many misconceptions around beauty pageants. And my goal going into Miss Taylala was to show that girls have personality. Like, girls aren't just all about looks. That was my main goal. I was like, we do so much nowadays. Like, we actually want to put substance into our life. And I wanted to showcase that. I also wanted to honor my communities in New Zealand that poured into me. So like the hip hop community. I wanted to show that Tongan girls are allowed to dance. I will admit I got a lot of hate for that, but we'll go into that. So my main goal was to break stereotypes and misconceptions around girls who do the pageant and around girls who focus on beauty. I wanted to show that there's more to us than just that. Mind you, I didn't even dress up that much before the pageant. So I'm kind of grateful because the pageant gave me a lot of tips about how to be a girl. How to value myself, value presentation, because that really does count, at the surface. When you go professionally, that is really important. It's a whole statement. And I didn't know that. So I'm thankful for that, the beauty side. But when I actually went to Tonga, man, I struggled so much with expectations. Everyone was putting their expectation on me. I had my team saying, you have to sit up straight. You can't sit that way. I had people online from all over the world saying, oh, you shouldn't be doing that. You're a girl, And I felt so, I was so hurt because I grew up kind of like a free-spirited girl, if you can tell. I'd already challenged my family status quo, and I wasn't liking people putting more restrictions on me. And so my whole goal for the pageant was to go there and just make a bold statement that us girls can achieve whatever we want and do it differently. So I tried to do everything differently. Like in my Tau Olunga, I was like, people usually walk in, but I'm going to come in on a big platform. And so my uncles lifted me on a massive platform and I just waved and I was like, what's up, guys? I'm here. Yeah. And then for my talent, I did hip hop. I wore pants. And then the comment section on YouTube, they went in on me. They're like, you're not supposed to be dancing like that.
Yeah.
And I was like, but I can. I just wanted to show girls that it's okay to be you. Like, you can you can joke, you can say how you really feel, and you don't have to hold back. And I'm not trying to throw any shade, but I used to watch interviews years ago, unintentionally, and then the girls would look so rehearsed. They'll look like, what they were saying weren't genuinely what they wanted to say from their heart or their mind. It was just like a script.
And they don't really believe in what they're saying.
Exactly. And for me, I was like, I have so much that I'm passionate about, and I want to just let it all shine. And then it was a real big challenge because it was met with a lot of opposition. It was met with a lot of attitude. People physically saying to me in Tonga, like, who do you think you are? There were so many side comments as I was in the building. Wow. And then when I got crowned, it was hard because I was like, I really should respond, but I think I'll just keep it in because I'll just keep it in. And then when I got crowned, I walked past the same people that kind of almost bullied me in person there, and they were quiet. They were so quiet. And I walked up to them and was like, oh my gosh, get home safely. I mean, I guess when you just focus on your goal, things will work out for you. And you won't even need to say anything to your haters. It'll just, the work will speak for itself. But yeah, I really like that because I was uncomfortable the whole time of preparation, but it made me grow so much as a person. And my biggest highlight was that I connected with my roots. So outside of the pageant activities, I went back to my my village. I met all my family. I learned about who I came from. And that added to my confidence too, because now I was like, oh, so I grew up in New Zealand. But now I know my lineage. So when I go back, I can tell, like, I know who I am, like, fully. Yeah, so those are the two main things. I wanted to showcase that you can genuinely be yourself unapologetically, and I reconnected with my roots.
Yeah, I know you saw a lot of criticism. So there were a lot of people thought that, like, you weren't intelligent, or you didn't have any kind of mental capacity. You met people like that. You just thought it was just a face.
Yeah, and I was like, I can talk. No, but not only that, I feel like a lot of them were they pick at your beauty as well. Me and the girls went through a lot of it, where they'll say the silliest thing, like, your eyebrows not thin enough, like that. That's so dumb. And I'd be like, so then come and fill it in yourself. Like, it was so silly. I don't know. I guess one thing that I will say is that us girls should know that if we're putting ourselves out there, we should be aware that we're opening ourselves up to those comments every time you put yourself. Yeah. So yeah, did it seem like that? Like, what's your perspective of pageants?
Well, I mean, the only experience I just growing up in Tongan was like them say Lala. Yeah, but I honestly never really paid attention to it. I guess when it happened, I was just all too young to think about it. But yeah, I have come across a lot of, and I do have. I mean, I've heard from friends or just people in general, that there's always criticism. There's always criticism to any girl. And then the crazy thing for me is just like, I look at somebody like, man, all these girls are beautiful. Like, how you guys are like just nitpicking at everything. And also the people I hear comments from are like, have you look at yourself?
Oh my gosh. They're like, a lot of them have been in my thoughts, that like a lot of my bullies in Tonga were like probably 40 plus and over. And I was like, where's your family? No, sorry, I'm just being big.
No, yeah, I was like, no, I just look at like, why? No, for me, I was just like, why are we doing this to our own people? And that doesn't make sense to me. But yeah, but yeah, I never really saw the what you guys went through. I mean, for me, honestly, I feel like, that you guys had everything figured out. You guys were perfect. You guys are just there's not a war in the world and you guys in life, because that was just my perception of it.
Oh no.
And I know that's the common perception when people see all these beauty pageants. They think like you guys just have a great life, and you guys never go through any kind of adversity or struggle. But then after, but during this podcast, I have interviewed a couple girls that have been on beauty pageants, and they all have their unique experiences, and shoot, some of the stuff they talk about is like tough as rough. Like, dang, like I didn't even know it was that so much pressure, and a lot of girls suffer with mental health on those trips. And of course, then it's probably even worse when it's a cultural beauty pageant, because our values and cultural beliefs also gets layered on top of that. So not only you have to meet the beauty pageant standards, but then you have to meet the cultural standards. And then especially when it comes to the older generation, like they want perfection. Like they expect perfection.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that was a big challenge, like measuring up to people's expectations of like how you should tau olunga, how you should wear your traditional attire. But I think for the girls, it was actually an honor to participate in cultural activities as well, because
Yeah.
then it allowed our villagers to be so proud. Like my
Yeah.
aunties came all the way up from Aba'u, and I could see them jumping at the back. Just I think that is one positive about that comp, is it truly brings you, your parents, your
Yeah.
whole village together for a purpose,
The Tongan
to
pride.
honor
Yeah.
Tongan pride, to honor your lineage, and who you are as a person. So I really love that. Just like how we are at the MMT games.
Yeah.
Miss Lala does that as well, but there's just like some toxic attributes about it, which is, everything in life isn't perfect, as you said.
Out of all the, I guess, categories like you had to perform in, which one was like the one that you were like very nervous about out of all the different? I'm just interested. I'm interested in just to learn to know that which one was the one like you probably the one you were like most afraid or unconfident in doing.
The Tau Olunga competition.
Yeah.
Because growing up as a hip hop dancer, my mom like literally threatened to ta'i me with the tau fale every 2 minutes. Because she comes, like I said, she comes from a family of punakes.
Yeah.
So they are perfect. But me, I was the black sheep in the family that decided to go through hip hop.
Yeah.
So when she was trying to teach me to be graceful, I'd like hop left, hop right. And she's like, stand still, keep your legs together. And so it was really important for me to represent my mom and my grandpa the best in that competition. And so I literally was so nervous, because with Tau Olunga, if you are an expert on Tau Olunga, you know what's right and what's wrong. And I just knew people were nitpicking. And that was my weakest point, because I had just learned Tau Olunga for the pageant, even though I grew up in a family of it. So, yeah. I mean, like for boys, when you guys mako, I've heard my uncle say, your Tau Lalo is too like low kind of thing. And I felt like that for my Tau Olunga. I just wanted to get it perfect, because that's something that's very important in my family.
Okay, nice. Well, you won, so. So, how'd your family? I was interested. How was your family's reaction when you won? Like, that's when.
Oh man, I could hear my mom. She ran up to the stage. They were. Oh man, it was just so good, because I went through like an intense few weeks of getting bullied, all that expectation, all that preparation, and then when I got crowned, it was like relief. Like all that hardship was worth this win. And I got to honor all the girls, because we all went through it. And I feel like for us, just completing the pageant was such a good thing. And honestly, my family just poured so much love into me. Even overseas, I had all my family overseas calling me that night, messaging me, sending videos of their reaction. And it really felt like a whole village win. And that's when I knew, like, it wasn't just about me. I was putting my ancestors on there. I was putting my country on there. So it felt awesome. It's one of the greatest highlights of my life, because it was a challenging one as well.
Okay. All right. Nice. Well, I can only imagine like you went through all that, and then Rio. I want to ask you, because every competition there's always like an underdog, and there's always that one girl, and everybody thinks she's gonna win.
Mm.
So were you like an underdog? Like people didn't really think you were gonna win, and then you won?
That's a good question. I actually don't know what people thought. I think maybe because I was like the less pageant type of all the girls, they're probably like, because she, probably actually it makes sense. Because in the Tau Olunga, I was so nervous. In the talent, I did not do anything like too traditional. I think that is what made the win more rewarding as well, is that I didn't stick to everyone's expectations, and then bang. Be yourself, girl.
Be yourself.
Be yourself. You're a true queen.
Yeah. I think that's what's cool about that story. You share, like, that you just stuck to being yourself, and I think that speaks volumes. So a lot of girls watching this right now. Imagine if you decided to try to be something you're not, you probably would have not won.
Yeah.
So the fact,
And
go ahead. Yeah.
even oh sorry, my bad. And even to like people that, compete in competitions and they don't get like recognized, there are people who still watch you, and you do become the crowd favorite because they see the truth. Outsiders actually see what's really going on. And so I totally agree with what you mean. Like, when you stick to yourself, say I won or lose, at least I know and I made an impact on the larger audiences that that's who I was the whole time. Like
Yeah.
if I didn't get a title, then at least people would know like that was her. That's the bigger win for me.
Yeah. Yeah, because just looking back on my own life, like whenever I say I succeeded at something, but I pretended to be something I wasn't, it wasn't fulfilling. It wasn't a fulfilling win.
Yeah.
But even when I lost at something, but I stayed true to myself and gave it my best. That felt a lot better than winning at something and not being myself. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So yeah, I feel like, but when it comes to win or losing, that's just it's gonna happen in life. I feel like that when you stick to yourself, you're gonna have more wins than than trying to win it. And because I think that's something I heard from a girl. I forgot. I did a podcast with, but the beauty pageant. She said that I think her advice she received from one of her, I guess, her mentor. She told her, "Hey, I know it's a beauty pageant, and you're going out there to represent your culture and your beauty, but just make sure that you feel beautiful." So that's what she said. Yeah, I don't care where you rank it, where you place, but the most important thing when you do this, that was his advice to her, that you go out there that you feel beautiful, not because people tell you you're beautiful, it's just because you feel like generally yourself that you're beautiful who you are.
That's so cool. I love that. That's awesome.
I know. But yeah, so I guess I want to switch to another topic. I know a lot of people are interested in this topic. I'm interested to hear your perspective on it. A lot of Polynesians. Can we talk about dating in the Polynesian culture?
God.
In the Tongan culture. So I'm just interested to hear your perspective. How's your journey been like being a Tongan woman? I know you come from a very cultured family, parents. So I guess dating in this generation can be very difficult, especially if you're Tongan, a Tongan woman. So can you just talk about that? I know that's one of the things, the conversation I hear from a lot of girls. They want to date, but then there's all these things that comes with it. The parents' expectations, also just how you carry yourself in public. If you're seen somewhere in a place that you're not supposed to be in, people just automatically just have their own judgments and perceptions of you. So I'm just to hear your perspective on it, because I feel like a lot of girls different to hear this, watching it. So how was dating for you, growing up as a Tongan woman, especially coming from your family that's very deep and very traditional in the culture?
Yeah. Oh, well, I think most Tongan girls can relate when I say that we had to be sneaky. We had to be sneaky without dating or a little like texting growing up, because the rule was no boyfriend until you graduate, basically, in my household. And so I couldn't even talk to anyone, but I would still messenger, because we had social media. So that's when Bebo was around.
Bebo.
Bebo, Facebook. And so I would still talk to people, but I always felt like I had to hide it. And and meetups is normal, guys. Like, I won't talk about my personal experiences, but like secret meetups was a thing. And I feel like because of the strict culture, girls kind of develop skills in sneaking out and just going to meet up with people. And I think I don't think it was a good thing long term. And my mom used to tell me about the way they did things back in Tonga. So do you know the tradition?
No, can you talk about that?
Oh yeah. So my mom said back in the days, if a guy was interested in you, he had to come to your house. Knock on the door.
Yeah.
Have shopping, and then he'll sit in your in your living room and just talk to you and your parents had to be there. That
Yeah.
is the complete opposite of what we go through here in New Zealand. A boy can just message us and, you know, that'll count as dating. So I don't know. I think dating has for me has been very difficult growing up in a Tongan household because I couldn't always be open with it. And even to this day, I'm still getting used to telling my mom like, oh, there's a potential that I'm talking to in my life because I feel like it's wrong. Yeah, but I think for girls, I appreciate that our cultural values has, like, say for example, the AA is there to keep us safe as well and to help put up boundaries for ourselves because I feel like because us girls easily open ourselves to any kind of dating opportunities, we can get hurt easily. And I feel like that's for boys as well. So I think the way to go right now is literally just to have a bit of both. Have some of the Tongan tradition and have those boundaries, but also still explore your options. Otherwise, you're going to end up like just single forever. No, just kidding. But yeah, I think that's my experience. My experience is just that I grew up having to hide it. Now I'm in a place where I can tell my mom about it, but I'm not fully comfortable like opening up per se.
Yeah.
But yeah, Polynesian dating in general. I don't know. I don't know what my actual thoughts are about it in general. Yeah, what is it like for you over there?
Well, yeah. So here, I mean, for me, I don't know. I mean, I guess our dating journey is different from guys because girls they get very restricted. Guys,
Yeah.
our parents don't care. Our parents just let us do our thing.
Yeah.
So I guess I can't really give you any perspective because like there wasn't any. My parents didn't care what I did, and if I was in a relationship, if I was in a relationship, they should just. It's always for guys. If you're seeing in a relationship, it's normal.
Yeah.
I guess for in our culture, although it's just being a man, he's just being a guy, But
Yeah. My mom said that. She was like, if a guy's talking to you on Monday, he's talking to someone else on Tuesday, he's talking to someone else on Wednesday. And then my mom said, like, yeah, is that true?
No, I do want to bring up that video because I know you had that video.
Yeah.
So
she was just telling me.
So I know I mean, if nobody watched that video, I know it was a conversation you and your mom had about dating, and your mom was telling you that to talk to multiple men.
Yes.
At one time because she said that that's what guys do. They talk to multiple girls as well. Well, and in my experience, I don't. It's both ways. Of course, with the social media culture where everybody's talking to multiple people, but it really depends on the type of person you are.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna lie. When I was younger, of course, we just did what everybody else is doing, talking to multiple people. But now for me, is like I realized that for me the importance of just committing. I've always been this way. I'm old fashioned. Like it's hard for me to talk to multiple people, even when I did it. Because for me, like I want that like for me when I do something, that always been how I grew up. Like I invest everything. I can't just give a part of myself to somebody and just hold that back. If that makes sense. Like, for me, like if I'm really want to go into a relationship with somebody, I want to give everything I have, and then that's just my I guess that's just the relation to how I saw my parents or my dad. He was always that type of person. Just give everything you have to my mom. So I guess when we grow up in a generation and we try talking to more people, and just be honest, my own experience, I did that, but I always struggle with that because I just found it really, really. I don't know. You can jump in anytime, but I just found it really hard, just sharing a piece of me, or just like, or purposely holding, or purposely like not talking to somebody because that's just texting, but don't text, but don't talk to them for like a week, and that's because
cool. I think that's cool.
And and for me, I was like, man, why? I really want to talk to this person, but my friends are telling me no. If you if you try to talk to them immediately, then you're gonna be seen as like I guess a simp or a needy.
Yeah.
Oh
my gosh.
And for me, I was like, for me, it didn't make sense. Like, I really want to talk to this person, but you're telling me to purposely wait. And of course, when you're young, we just fall into what everybody else is doing. But then,
yeah.
But I realized myself, like, I can't build a relationship that way. And of course, if you grow up now, like everybody out there, I feel like that's why like this generation is. So I meet so many people struggling to finding dates. It's because you're not investing your time into a person. Like, how can you expect to find a good woman or a good man if you're investing your time to 10 different people?
Yeah.
And like it does logically, practically, it doesn't work. It doesn't work out. Like you can't give 10 people your attention and find that person and find that right person. You know, so like you have to give your attention to one single person, and then you can see if they reciprocate that back to you. And if they are reciprocating it back to you, that lets you know where that relationship is going. But if you're only giving half, to say 10%, and they're giving 10%, how can you gauge to know where this relationship is going if you're both not giving it?
Both holding back.
And that's why a lot of people stay in these like open-ended relationships that doesn't lead anywhere, because everybody is. And this is something I just see a lot, and which I feel like it's stupid. I feel bad for. I now look back at my relationships that I feel bad for behaving that way, because that's the culture we're in. But I guess that for me now in my life, like I'm old fashioned. Like if I want to talk to that person, like I want to be with that person and spend my whole time with that person. And there is no other person until I know that doesn't work out, and then I move on to the next person. Like your thoughts on that?
Yeah, that's a good point. I believe that's why so many people are single in this generation, is because they're going by culture, and culture tells you to protect yourself and not fully give yourself, just in case they don't give it back. And by doing that, you're not taking a risk, and you are really blocking yourself from growing in like intimacy with someone, because you're too scared to commit. And one person told me that, like, and I think it's fear of the heartbreak, it's fear of rejection, because we know when we're at our lowest, man, we really go through it and we never want to feel that again. And then I was talking to my guy mate about it actually, and he was like, because for me, I was like, I think I'm personally afraid of wasting time. I'm afraid of wasting 5 years of my life with someone and then another 3 years trying to like move on, right? That's 8 years of my whole life. And then my friend was like, okay, but you might waste 5 years with one person and then meet the right one in 1 year, and then the rest of your life is a blast. You just have to decide and make that decision. And I feel like that's why without dating nowadays, so many people are indecisive. They're not choosing to commit to one person, as you were saying, because of what culture is telling us. Like you said, don't be a simp. Don't, and I think for boys, it's like, don't be a simp over girls. Don't be whipped. That used to be the old word.
Don't look too needy. Yeah, too needy. Yeah.
Exactly. And then but if you actually really like the person, I love what you said, that like just pursue it, because honestly, time goes by. And I think what my mom was trying to say to me in the video was, I guess her advice were towards girls who become too hung up over guys. She was just saying, no, just take life easily and get to know different types of guys before you fully settle down, because you need to learn what you like. You need to learn what type of guys are out there. So it's okay to date 10 boys. And, back in Tonga, their definition of date was see each other at the dairy and there you're dating. That was their definition. That's what I think her definition was, Whereas for New Zealand, dating is like, I've personally decided to kind of start something with someone. That's why it's two different definitions.
You guys are talking.
Yeah, but it is a tricky thing, dating nowadays, because once someone gets hurt, it'll create a spiral. And I feel like that's why people are scared to fully jump into it. And they just, instead of dating and labels, they have situationships. They have talking stages. And it's like, Some of you guys just really need to move past that, which I think is sad. But my ultimate solution to that is to always seek God. Like I always love praying about people I'm interested in. Like I did that in Tonga, the pageant. So many like good looking guys were there and they came up, they were guys with they knew the culture, they were like really nice. And then I just asked God. God would not hesitate to be like, no, that person's not yours. I'm like, oh sweet then. Back to New Zealand. But yeah, dating is tricky. I think being in a relationship is tricky too. You have to forgive them and work at that relationship every day, but it comes with rewards.
Yeah, I think I love what you said. I think like the way the culture is, it's just beautiful. It's breeding a lot of fear, a lot of insecurity, a lot of people. When people say like I want to talk to multiple people, it really means that you're just afraid to get hurt, to put your time to one person. So people have to use those excuses as a reason why, like, because they're just afraid to get hurt. I feel like we need to do a better job of just teaching people what love is and the difference between love and infatuation because sometimes we think that we meet somebody that we think automatically we think it's love, but it's not really love. It's like you just infatuated that person, So there's a lot of things. That's why I'm so happy that now that's why a lot of people see teaching about self-love and knowing a worth and value. And I think that was for Polynesia is really, it can be really hard to navigate because we don't talk about love and like and sex like our whole life. We don't talk about that at all. Relationships, we don't talk about that all growing up, and then we have to figure that out as we go older. So we don't
oh, man, yeah,
we don't we never. I don't think I ever had the conversation and talk. And my parents are like, okay, this is how this is how you're supposed to date. This is how you're supposed to pursue, talk to women. This is how you're supposed to court them. We never had that. And I don't. Did you ever have that conversation with your parents? Like, your dad sitting you down to talk about men, or guys, and stuff? Or not really.
No, not at all. I wish we did, because I think the biggest thing to learn is that men and women are completely different creatures. Like the way we communicate. Like I know now that men are doers and women are like feelers. We have that motherly nature. And so like the way a man might be trying to show me that he's loving on me and stuff, I might not recognize it because he's doing it the way a man knows how to show love, right? But as a female, I need like words, I need a hug. But as a man, say he does the dishes and that's him saying like I love you, and I'm like, you never love me, you never say that. I wish my dad like sat me down and told me more about boys. But you're so right, it's never talked about and you just kind of get into it. And I think people should learn about relationships because those are the number one things that affect us in life, like our relationships personally with like a significant other. So, did you have anything to add on?
So you were talking about like how men express their love. This is for all the ladies out there, because I actually dive. I do a lot of reading on it and just understand, human behavior. But there's 3 ways. I don't know if you guys know Steve Harvey.
Yes.
He has a book. I read his book, and he talked about there's 3 ways that men express how they love you. It's called the 3 Ps. It's like provide, profess, and protect. So they'll feel, sometimes they may not tell you they love you, but they'll find a way to protect you. Because as men, we're biologically built, like you said, women are more nurturing and very more emotional. Of course, you guys are built that way biologically because you guys are meant to have babies and nurture the child. So naturally, you're more nurturing than us and more emotional than us because that's the purpose you were created for. For men, God created us, to protect, to provide, and so that becomes our love language. So when we meet women, the way we show our love is through we can protect you, to providing for you, because that's just in our nature. So that's why you see a lot of men, they may not be emotional with you, or they may not be direct with you, but if they show through their actions that they want to protect you, they want to provide for you, that they want to profess to you the intentions of what they want out of you, then that is clear to you what they want. That's a man that they have shown interest in, their not only interest, but they're very committed to you.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's so cool. I'm really thinking about it. I'm like, oh, okay. So do you think if a man doesn't feel like he can do all three, he will hesitate in pursuing? Do you think the man...
So of course, like, you know, we do it in different ways. So I'll give you a perfect example. I remember this girl a long time ago. I was very interested in her. But I wasn't confident in myself to ask her and let her know directly how I felt, you know, because, you know, there are, you know, a lot of men just like women, we're insecure too. We have insecurities and we have our own fears. So like, I would just, and I remember, like, I'll tell the girl, hey, anything you need, I'm here for you, you know, like, you know, if she called me, needed something, I'm done. I'm like, I respond. Like, she asked me something, anything I can provide for her, which is one of the P's. Anything I can do to protect her, you know. If, like, you know, if we got out of the party, I will, like, and I see her walk into a car, I'm like, hey, I'll walk with you. I'll walk you to your car. Even so, I want to protect it, but I'm doing it because that's just how I feel as a man. So she do. But even though I'm not telling her I like her, I just hope that she sees it. Which is stupid that you have to communicate. But I just hope she notices. Okay, I just hope she notices that I'm doing all this stuff for her. But after I read that book, I realized, like, oh wow, that's actually how when I used to deal with women in an uncommitted, communicative type of way to show my love. I will always try to figure out a way to protect or provide for them, to make them to show that I care, and hopefully they can see it and express that. But I never thought it that way until I read it in that book. So for you know, women love language is different from our men. When it comes to guys love language, you guys are more expressive. You want, you know, you guys, as women, you express your emotions, how you feel to men, but we don't express it. We show it through the way we protect you. We show it the way we provide for you, and we show it the way we profess to you, is like letting you know, hey, like, you're my woman. Our intentions, hey, I want you. You're my woman.
That's so cool. That's so cool.
So yeah, so which is why I see a lot of oftentimes I see a lot of women struggle with, like, attracting or figuring out men's intentions, because, like, the language, they're trying to, if they see a man that's uncommunicative or he doesn't say anything, automatically they think, oh, that guy doesn't care, you know.
That's true.
But the thing is, like, he's ulanga, like, you know, he's young, he's got good behaviors, right? But because that person, and of course, because that guy he's not on social media, he's not flexing, he's not doing the cultural stuff, then a lot of girls think, oh, he's not a outgoing person, he's not on social media, oh, he's boring, you know, he's not. And then which is like, but then they find out later
but really you're working to save for your future, kind of thing, like preparing to provide. That's a different thing girls, I don't think, consider.
But when you're younger, you don't really think about that stuff, because when you're younger, we just fall in with the culture the generation culture that we know, when it comes to just dating, go out there, have fun, live life, you know, be who talk to 10 people, multiple people, and hope for the best.
Hope for the best out of one of them.
Which is crazy. Yeah, you should never, just like anything in life, you should always plan for it. You should never try to hope, especially when it comes to a partner, somebody that you're gonna invest your time with for your whole life.
That is so true. I think that's a fear for some of our generation too, is that they'll end up with the wrong person. And I feel like there is some, like, that's a right way of feeling, like, to a point, because whoever you end up with, you're gonna be spending every day of your life with them. So, like, if you travel but they don't like traveling, someone's gonna be complaining to your ear every day. So I think your choice is very important. It's just getting the wisdom around it, because sometimes feelings overpower that. And I just wanted to bring that up.
Yeah, that's why I like, just to go through what you said, like, A lot of people are afraid to be with the wrong person, which I agree. Like there's not really any good tell of this person's good for you. But the only way you can find out if somebody's good for you is invest into them, commit to them. You know, and spend as much time as you need with them to see their behavior, see their reactions. Because like if you never invest yourself with them, and so that way you can have a connection to be open with that person and see how they really say, how they really think. Not on the surface level when you guys just pretending to be, you know, in public. I'm talking about in private. You know, see the type of person they are in private. But you can't know those things if you don't fully invest. But if you try to play games and you know, and just try to date through messages or and just have meetups, like you said, just have meetups. You know, then you can't really tell what type of person you are with just meeting up with them. You have to get in a relationship with them and knowing full well. I mean, and of course, going to a relationship in a healthy, being healthy, knowing that okay, this stuff doesn't work out, it's fine. I'm still confident in myself.
Yeah, it's fine.
And move on.
Gosh, that's so true. That's so true. Oh my gosh. More clarity comes with more time you spend with someone.
Yeah. And that's, I want to ask you, I'm interested to hear your thoughts on this because I heard this question. So, you know, just looking at you as, you know, just look at everything you've done in your life, right? So for me, I consider you like a very, you know, you're very vocal as a woman. You're very vocal, you're very expressive. You know, you have a career, you're killing it. Like in America, we have a saying for like you're a very high quality, high value woman. That's what we say, right? So, do you find? I'm going to ask you: do you find because you're such a high quality, high value woman, do you find a lot of guys intimidated by you because you are Miss International Tongan? You're on a radio personality, so you have a social media account. So a lot of people see you and they're like, "Oh my God, she's this girl. She has all these things. She's very high class," and you know, just their own perception of how they perceive you based on, you know, what you do with your life. Do you feel like a lot of, I don't know, maybe men, but Polynesian men, like they're very intimidated the fact that you are a high quality value woman, and they think that, I don't know, because one thing I do know, a lot of my Polynesian friends, they prefer women who are like serve the old fashioned way, like stay home and just serve them. So like I have a lot of Polynesian friends that they just want a woman to listen to them, whatever they say goes. And don't voice their expression how they feel, and just serve them. You know, and then when they meet women, who are, I'm not saying there's any degrading way, but more educated, have their own mind, very vocal, actually doing stuff with their life, actually doing things with their life. They get a lot of my friends are intimidated to pursue that type of that high quality value woman. So they want to pursue the and I don't want to say this in a harsh tone, like the average level woman. And I'm not saying that in any disrespectful way. But I want to ask you, do you feel like maybe guys are intimidated by you, by the type of person you are as a woman, and the type of things you do?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not trying to sound like, you know, like high-headed or anything. I really, but I have had really awkward encounters where guys assume that I feel a certain way because I feel like they automatically assume that I'll ignore them just because I, you know, work in the places I work. And I'll know right off the bat because they'll say to me, "Oh, you must be rich." Like, you know, just like little comments that I'm like, oh my gosh, they think they think these things about me, but they really don't know like that I'm really at heart a goofy girl. I grew up in poverty, like, you know, long story short, yes. I feel like that's why for dating it is tricky sometimes too, because you don't want a guy to feel intimidated by you, but you don't want to like water yourself down. Like, if I'm having a conversation with someone, but I found that many times I've had to like pretend that, and I'm guilty of this, but I've had to like kind of pretend like
water down.
I'm not. like I would, if they're like, oh, what are you doing this weekend? And literally my weekend would be like full of me emceeing, performing, like going to all these big stuff. And I would just be like, oh, just at home, just gonna be watching Netflix, and I feel so bad because I don't want them to feel bad, but it's just like the energy that like, and maybe it's me doing that, but I just don't want to make it look like I'm bragging. Especially if I feel like the guy has given me the impression that he feels like he's intimidated by me. And I've gotten it a lot because me and my other friend has a conversation too. We're like, is that why it's hard for us to like really date? Because I feel like boys think they can't approach us sometimes. Because she's like me. She runs like her own like businesses and stuff. And we're just like, why are guys scared to talk to us? We're literally such goofballs. But yeah, I think it is a thing.
Do you know, well, can I give you my opinion why they feel intimidated?
Yeah.
Okay, so ladies, listen to this, take notes. So I just mentioned to you earlier that the thing with our love language as men is we want to protect, provide, and profess. That's our love language.
Oh my gosh, yes.
The thing is, when a man looks into another woman, and regardless of what you're doing with your life, they have to figure out how are they going to protect you, how are they going to provide for you, and how are they going to profess to you. So, and the thing is, if they, especially when it comes to high, like I mentioned, you're a high quality, value woman. You have a life, you have a career, you know what you want. The thing is, like, when they see you, they're trying to figure out, okay, where do I fit into that picture? That I can be a man to protect you, that I can be a man and provide for you, I can be a man and profess for you. And the thing is, and it has, and of course, I'm sharing this because that's how men think. That's how we think, And I've been that way, where I've met some very beautiful women, and they're very like they're like a high level as far as like where they were in life. They were higher, they were way higher than me, and I always felt insecure because I was like, how can I be a man? How can I be a man in her life when she has she's providing for herself, she's protecting herself, she has everything. Like what can I do? Like where do I fit in as a man? Because I am a man at the end of the day, right? So I have as a man, like you have to feel as a man in any relationship. So and but that's the challenge, and that's why even my friends now, I have a lot of women I know right now that have their own business, entrepreneurs, killing it, right? And then and they struggle with attracting a man, and I always had to tell them, look, this is how the love language of men, so that way, like when you do I know sometimes you guys are in an entrepreneur spirit, but then sometimes but don't be afraid to be a woman, because I know sometimes as very women who are very high quality, they're very confident, and that they have a chip on their shoulder, like they have to prove because of their upbringing. That's why they became that type of woman in the first place, to achieve that level of success. But at the end of the day, like I always tell women, like beyond, like when we meet women, we literally don't care about the accomplishments. Like we just want a woman.
That's true. True.
And this is why I tell you this. This is why I know men don't care about accomplishments. Is a man can be successful and meet a girl in McDonald's and marry her. A girl will be successful. A girl will be successful. I will never see a girl that's successful meet a guy in McDonald's and marry him. So I've never seen that. Like I said, but the thing is, that's for guys, when we see women, like we have to figure out how can I be a man in her life to protect, provide for her, profess for her. And if you're really successful, it's really hard for you to attract that type of man. Which is, like I said, there's nothing wrong with the way you like. Maybe you just need to attract men that in the same industry as you, in the same value or quality as you. And I'm just saying that with respect, because when a man is confident at the same level, high level as you, when they see you, like they're confident enough because of what they offer. And if you're an average guy, it's really, really hard to see a girl that's really doing in a higher standard in life. It's really, really hard to approach him like, man, like she got everything. Like, what can I do? How can I be a man in her life? Oh, she got it. Does that make sense to you? I don't know if that makes sense to you.
It does. I'm so glad you've shared that perspective because, we don't know that guys are thinking like that. We're just like, oh, why aren't they approaching us? Like, are we doing something wrong? And you know what? It makes us think, okay, we have to do more. We have to show them that like we're worth pursuing, but little did we know that, guys simply just want us to be ourselves. It doesn't matter what's attached to us. That's kind of cool because, it really clears up a lot for me. And I think like I've learned something new there. And I feel bad, but I think one encouragement to guys is like, girls could have it all, but they'll always like, whatever heart they have, they'll always have like a need for emotional intimacy. And like,
of course.
I mean, I guess they just like to keep busy, but yeah, I'm processing what you just said, and I'm like, okay, now I'm rethinking every approach that's ever come my way. And sometimes us girls do get quite like, I think we kind of, wait, what's the word? I forgot what the word is, but we glorify independence way too much. There's that whole movement of like, I don't need a man, like, but really that we don't realize it's actually pushing the men away. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. I didn't think of it that way at all. Like at all. That's so interesting.
Yes, I have a lot of friends like they're very successful and a girlfriend, and I always tell them like, look, like you have to understand image is perception. Like what we see is what we believe. So if you want guys to be approaching you, then make it approachable for them. And I'm not saying change your behavior. Like I know a lot of them, like they have recognized jobs, so they're always wearing. All the stuff they have is like like Chanel, all these top quality clothes and stuff. So like if a guy looks at you and all they see you are dressing like high quality clothes, in their mind, like I can't afford that. I can't afford that. How can like compete? How can I even ask? That's apparently that's why you like to wear. So like I can't even afford it. So I have no chance with you. So sometimes you have to change the way you behave or the way you look. I'm not saying change who you are. Just be more down to earth and be more approachable for men to see. Okay, even though she is, but she looks because she's cool. She's here. It's like everybody else. She's talking to everybody. She's wearing normal clothes. And then give him an opportunity to feel comfortable to approach you. But I'm not. But if you're always just like, in a certain mode and not because I know when it comes to confident women, like they do act like men sometimes. Instead of being feminine, like be feminine. Don't be afraid to be feminine. Like be you. Be a woman.
Yeah.
And and then be vulnerable sometimes. So men can see, she has emotions, and as a man, I can, as a man, I want to protect that. I want to be like that. But if you're just like strong-willed and then all the time, and I'm not saying like to change who we are. I'm just saying is change your approach of so you make them be more make yourself be more approachable.
That's good wisdom.
So that way men can see it, because I'm telling you, every guy when they see a woman, they always figure out, okay, how can I fit in her life? Can I protect her? Can I provide for her? And then the ones that we feel like that we can provide the easiest, we go for the ones.
Okay.
And that's why I do. That's why I see a lot of girls like, I have everything, and why are these guys going for these girls who have like all these young girls have nothing? They don't have a job. I'm like, well, it's not about the job. It's like, because
so I did all this for nothing.
No. You did. There's a purpose. Yeah, but the reason why they went for those girls because those girls made it more easier for them to protect and provide and be a man in their life than you.
Man, that's interesting. So I guess like the listeners as well, like for girls, it's okay to let your guard down every now and then. But there is stop being prideful, like, because I think girls do it out of pride sometimes. I think another thing is that we are taught kind of not to be. So my question is, how do you choose between a girl that you can provide for more easily and what I'm trying to say is like some girls are told don't be too desperate, because if the guy thinks you're too easy to get, they won't enjoy the chase. So how do you draw the line between someone you can provide for, and someone you just know you have already. Like,
for you,
if
for
that's
example, from the girl perspective, or from the guy perspective, from the girl, like how you want to know that you're not too desperate.
yeah, I guess from the guy, like, how do you choose between someone that is too desperate and someone that is like you can ease? Actually, yeah, I don't know how to word my question.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean, eh?
So yeah, so like how can you, I guess, how can you know it's the right person and not come off like too desperate? I guess is what you're saying.
Yeah, like I'm saying, if us girls, like if you say high girls of value, let their guard down, say they're afraid of becoming too easy, and then the guy thinks, oh, I can get her easily, so I'm not gonna chase her. That's kind of what I'm saying. Like, she's too easy to attain.
Okay. So you don't, okay, that you don't want to make it too easy for them.
Okay. So
Is that
yeah.
what
Okay. I get
is that what you're saying?
Yeah,
Like you
that's
don't
what
want
I'm
to, that you're afraid that and for me, honestly, I feel like that just comes from fear. Like, if I put my guard down, open somebody up, then and then they'll just really take advantage of me, and that's just the fearful thinking. That's why we have to change the mindset of what relationships are and teach them that relation, and like the relationships when you meet somebody, it's about like what are adding value to them. Like, do they make you a better person? Do they reciprocate your efforts? Do they do they support and try to understand your life and what you're trying to do for your life? So it's just chemistry, communication, compatibility. There's no one single thing. It's all these necessary components that you have to look at. So for me, like I was like anybody that gives me a girl that approaches me, gives me time, or I approach somebody, give me time. You still have to get to know that person by date. That's what I say, by dating. So even if you've lowered yourself, no, you still have to get to know that person. And when you get to know them, I just figure out, okay, does this person, can I be myself being around this person? Does this person is aligned with what I'm trying to do with my life? Are they being supportive? Are they adding value to my life? Or like not playing games? So try to, because one thing I do know, when you meet the right person, that you don't feel fear. Like everything they do, of how they act, of how they treat you, is only instilling trust in you that this is where you need to be. Because a lot of times I meet a lot of girls, like they are just worried. Okay, I don't know what my man is doing. I'm afraid. I don't know what he's doing. Is he probably well? That probably shows what type of man he is. Because if a man really likes you, appreciates you, he wouldn't do anything to hurt or sabotage the relationship. Because I'm telling you, if a man really wants to, he won't do anything to lose you. That's one thing. Like, I'm just all the ladies out there. If a man wants to be with you, he'll be with you, and if he wants to be with you, he won't do anything to sabotage it. If he's willing to sabotage it, then obviously there's something going on, with him.
Throw the man's away.
maybe, but yeah, just like I'm telling you, like men, if they want something, they'll get it, and once they get it, if they really value it, don't want to lose it, they won't do anything to lose it. And the fact that's why behavior is very key. Just getting to know them, understand how they think, how they treat you, and if you see that this person is causing more pain to your life than the value of happiness and feeling safe, then that should tell you what's going to happen in the long run, because he's already showing you now, and you guys not even short amount of time, and then you guys don't really know each other like that. Imagine a whole life.
Right?
So
reflex.
So it's like, no, it's just like, don't. I think I hear that from a lot of women, like, I don't want to let my guard. No, just be yourself. My best advice somebody told me is like, the best way to attract the right person is be yourself. And the more open and more clarity, the more open you are in the beginning of the relationship, that way it's much easier for you to recognize the things that you don't need. Because for me, I'm not gonna, like, what I'm trying to, when I meet somebody, I'm just gonna be myself. I'm gonna talk about my goals in life. I'm gonna talk about things I love to do. I'm gonna be myself and my stupid jokes I do, my stupid Tongan jokes I do. I'm gonna be myself in the beginning, up front, so they see what type of person they are. And if they're intimidated by that, if they don't like that, they're comfortable with that, then it's good. That lets me know that, okay, if you're not cool with that now,
Yeah.
then I'm not. That's just who I am. I'm gonna be like this forever. So if you
Yeah.
can't, if you're not cool with it now, then it's good. You're probably not the person for me. But I know a lot of times when we have dates, and you can recognize this, when we have dates in the first relationship, we act like this person that we're not really like.
Yeah.
We try
like, oh my gosh.
We try to be perfect. We try to like say it's the perfect thing. We don't reveal our true nature of who we are until later. In life. But that I feel like that's the recipe. That's why sometimes we meet the wrong people, because there's a lot of good pretenders out there. There's some guys and girls out there that know how to fake it. Know how to fake that. So that's why I feel like it's better just come in the beginning. If you want to be as a woman, you're like, look, I don't have time. I'm trying to be in a good relationship. I don't want to. Be clear with your intentions. Then do that. If that's what you want to do.
That's a good piece of advice. That's really good. I'm going to take notes.
I'll be like, hey, like, look, I don't really have time right now. Like, to be honest, I'm at this point in my life. I'm just trying to find one person. And it's beyond, and see how he reacts. If that guy's like, no, then that should tell you everything about that person.
Exactly.
But if you meet a guy's like, oh my God, me too.
Then yay!
Hey, Molly.
That's so true.
Then boom, yeah. Just I think that one of the biggest issues now is just nobody's being real. Nobody's communicating how they really feel. Their intimidation in the beginning, and then we need to be more open in the beginning, so that way we're not wasting time later, and not find out about all these things like a couple months down the line. You find out, oh, that's how you really are. Oh, dang, I just wasted like a couple months.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Man, that's so true. Like, so true. I'm actually learning so much from this. And I love that I'm hearing it from a male's perspective, because girls easily talk to each other about, our dating lives, but it's nice to hear it from a guy, like straight up. So, it's so cool.
Yeah, so appreciate that. I'm glad we had a little dating section in our podcast for all the men and ladies out there. So hopefully you had some added value to your dating life, and you can find the right person. And if you did find the right person because of our advice, send me an invite to your wedding. Send me an invite. Send me an invite. Send me an invite. Let me know.
Put this on the table. That's so sweet.
All right.
That was good.
Thank you. So I guess we've come to the end of the podcast. Man, we had some great conversations. Oh my God, we had some great conversations. So I just want to say thank you so much. Very grateful for this opportunity. Thank you for sharing, opening your life up for everyone to hear. I know that's why I always tell people, a lot of people don't realize how much courage it takes for somebody to open up themselves to other people. But the fact you did it today, not only for yourself, but for the other people as well, like I mentioned, the podcast to empower, inspire, and help other people that's going to be watching. Thank you for sharing that. So just I really appreciate you. Thank you so much. I'll give you a big hug. Big hug right now.
Virtual hug.
Virtual hug.
Yeah.
But thank you so much. I really appreciate that for jumping on this podcast and sharing a life story. So I guess the last thing I always end every podcast with is I ask every guest if you can share your some final thoughts, some final words of wisdom to everybody. And we can leave off the podcast with that.
Cool. I just want to say, first of all, thank you so much for having me on. Again, thank you for the work that you do. I felt very comfortable today. Thank you for listening to all my rants. That was fun. Today was really fun, and I love that you're opening this space up. My final words and thoughts to everyone is just honestly, live life. I know everyone says that saying, but we are so blessed to be alive today. Like what was mentioned earlier, our life could be so different right now. Waking up in health is a luxury. It's not normal for so many people. And so if you're out there and you're thinking oh my gosh, what am I going to do today? Honestly, just go find something and enjoy today. Live your life today, because we're very blessed to be where we're at as Pacific people. And I just want to say, I want to give you guys all love. To anyone tuning in, thank you so much. I hope our conversation blesses you, and just know that you have an older sister and older brother here for anything you need in life. But yeah, I had fun today, so thank you so much for having me on.
All right. Thank you so much. And thank you guys for watching. And you guys have a great day. I'm going to go ahead and press the stop button. I'm going to talk to you right after. Give me 1 second.